You are live. Hey, y'all. Y'all can say hey. Talk to myself. Uh,
We're waiting for your introduction. You usually introduce.
Sometimes I'm slow with it, okay? Hi, you guys. So to introduce our panelists for tonight, we have Inaz, Mistaken, Marky Mark, and of course, I'm Shan Monet. And this is a Chic critique.
You're not as bouncy. You wasn't bouncing as like the bounce was. Yeah, like there was no bounce. That's why they. Oh, see, you bounced and 20 people popped up. That's
She bounced.
The bounce will get.
I'm not bouncing tonight.
6 people
I
left.
already got my little jammy dress on. I ain't playing with y'all tonight. Shower. I already got her ready for bed. This is how I went at the end of the night last night. I was like, shoot, I'm about to put this hair. Then y'all kept on talking. And then JR told me, we're going to end the show. And I'm like, oh, shoot, put my hair. Like, my hair was up. Okay.
Yeah, you got checked out. Checked out.
Yeah, long day. It's been a long week. Long week. But anyway, it was just so, listen, it was crazy how last night we talked about gun violence in school, right? Mm-hmm. And this week we had a hard lockdown. We practiced our hard lockdown. And I had just had a conversation yesterday in the daytime with my students about being nice to people because people can snap. And that was just crazy how that was the topic last night. It was just, it's just all.
You think you ever had a student that was snapping and include you in the barrage? Like, have you ever been mean to a student where?
Oh, they might think I'm mean to them. They say I'm mean. They was like, this because we thought you was mean. Mean and just being strict.
We be snapping on the kids.
I didn't. Snapping is a different kind of word. I don't snap. I'm very stern.
You be snapping at me. That's what that means. Just watching her like, girl, you probably need to stop that.
This is when I snap. Let me give you a reason to snap. Okay, snapping is when I give you an assignment on Monday. I tell you it's due Friday. You're in class not doing anything. I'm reminding you have an assignment that's due on Friday. Why aren't you doing anything? Friday comes, you don't turn the assignment in on Monday. Miss Pitts, can we get extra time?
They was trying to get their mind right, we do the same thing.
How about can we get extra credit?
Extra credit on nothing. You didn't do this. Extra means you're doing something extra. You didn't do the first assignment.
So I would take it that you're extremely punctual.
Huh?
I would take it that you're extremely punctual to be judging these kids so harshly.
No, so I'm not. That's why I give them a whole week to get the assignment in. The assignment can be done in 15 minutes. I give you a whole week because I know like maybe today is not your day. And maybe tomorrow isn't either. But damn it.
I tried to go to bat for him. That's something else. Yeah.
It's really bad out here in these educational streets. It's in these hallways. It's bad. It's bad. It's almost like they want you to do it for them. I don't know what they want to do.
We had a girl in credit recovery. So I don't know if they had it when you were in high school. We didn't get credit recovery. Either you fail. If you fail, you go to summer school. There was no in between. But now they have something called credit recovery. If you fail, you can recover that credit within 2 weeks.
Who's AJR's Chic critique shirt? Your brother. You have a Chic critique shirt.
I had got it made for him and sent it to him. He's like, I was with y'all. So I got him a white one with black writing and then got the black one with white writing.
I bet that white
if you watching, bring your ass on the show, man.
Huh?
I say, Hilton, if you watching, bring your ass on the show, man. Come on up here.
That's cute. Okay, sorry. Go ahead, credit recovery, and then we're gonna get into the topic. Sorry, y'all.
So you get 2 weeks to make up. Well, Monday through Thursday, right? So not even a full week. They get to make up a whole semester in 2 weeks. You would think that the kids would take advantage of that, right?
What's the highest grade they can get?
They can get 100 if they do all of the assignments and get 100 on an assignment.
Oh my God! I would have never went to school and came for the last 2 weeks.
the only way they could qualify for that is they have to score between, if they failed the class, it has to be between a 50 and 69, right? So then they get the 2 weeks to do the lessons, and then they can just turn that into an A. It'll replace that grade.
This
These
will
ninjas,
be a good discussion when we talk about next week's topic. This will be a good discussion for the topic that we were talking about behind stage about for next week, because it kind of goes into that. Remember the video that you saw? It kind of goes into that.
I just got one question. Do they have to go to class to get under a 50 or below, or can it be incomplete?
Whatever makeup it is, either they got zeros, failed tests, or whatever the makeup is, if that grade is between a 50 and 69, they qualify for the opportunity to make that up.
The thing about it is, this is the thing. The thing about it is, most kids fail because they're just not turning the work in. Most teachers will work with you if you give them something. Aww. When you give them nothing, you can't work with nothing, right? Mm-hmm. I can see where you are if you turn something in, so I can look at him like, okay, but if you're not turning in anything, it's a zero. I can't make a zero into something else because you're not even showing effort. You're just not even trying, so that really is the issue. It really is. But I saw that, so that in the documentary I saw, and we'll go into it next week, one of the things was when you are a certain, so when kids who are born in a certain type of life, right, they are used to moving independently in the household. Maybe they have to take care of their siblings. And so when you go and you take that independent mindset, even at a very young age, you bring it to a classroom, this kid is still in that I'm independent, and they don't really take, directives from authority too well, or they just move like they move at home, Did you see that part mistaken when they were talking about that?
I remember that.
So did you watch both videos?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Or maybe I probably, because those things pop up back to back. I probably watched another one. I'm going to find it though. I'm going to bring it tomorrow next week. But anyway, topic. I can do bad all by myself. And you know what's so funny? I saw a video and I was trying to find a video. I didn't see this mistaken. It was an old woman. And the mother, the daughter did a prank. And she was playing cards with her friend. And she's like in her 90s. And she goes, Grandma, put your clothes on. That guy is coming over. She's like, what guy? She's like, I got a date for you. I set up a date. Remember the date app? She's like, I don't want no date. She's like, and she was so mad. And I was like, why are you playing these games with a 90-something-year-old? Like, you could tell her anxiety got high. And she's like, I don't want to. I love being here with me and my cat. I was like, I wonder what experience she had that's to the point where she's like, no. Don't bring no man in my house.
One day, my grandma was talking to me in the car, and I just didn't like her tone. So I was just listening to everything she was saying. I'm like, okay. So then we pulled up. It used to be people waiting at the bus stop. And I pulled up, and I'm like, hey, I got an older lady right now. She used to be bad in her day. I don't know if you want to go on this date. But she was so mad. Dude at the bus stop was looking like, I don't know, maybe. She was hot. She ain't say nothing else to me that whole ride. So my mission was accomplished.
Okay, so this is a good question. So so in my class, I tell my students, if you have to turn assignments in after a certain, let's just say, if I try to wait till the last minute to let them turn in missing assignments. If I've given you a whole week, right, and I only give you partial credit for the assignment, I always tell them this is to get you up to passing. And they be like, Miss Pitts, that ain't fair. I'm like, no. What's not fair is I have this student over here who's doing everything that they can do to get it in our time. And then I have you who comes in real late, turning in your assignments, but you want the same grade as her. I said, well, how are you going to get the same grade as this person? And you're not this person. You guys are not even doing the same thing, right? I say, you guys are very, very different. And it's unfair to this person if I'm giving you the same grade. I said, y'all not the same. Y'all not the same. So I'm not, at the end of the day, your grade is going to reflect that. You may pass, but you won't end with the same grade.
But yeah, you're right, Trigger Mike. There is no incentive because I was saying if I was the student now thinking about how I was or could have been in high school, I had some parameters that kind of stopped that. Was if I knew that I can retake a class in 2 weeks as opposed to the entire semester,
And get the same
I'm chilling,
outcome.
get the same outcome. I'm chilling the entire semester, waiting for the 2 weeks, knock the 2 weeks out, and I'll still have like a high GPA.
No Child Left Behind, unfortunately, has enabled a lot of people. Like some people, it's been beneficial, but in other cases, most cases, we were enabling the kids. In my opinion,
It
you know.
really, honestly, is not. I went back and read that because a lot of people talk about that. If you really look at what No Child Left Behind says, what we're doing is the way that we're interpreting it, right?
Hmm.
It really isn't the law itself. It's kind of like how with teachers, they tell you you need to teach the standards, but they don't give you a specific way in how you do it. You just have to accomplish it, right? That's the same thing. And this is what they came up with, which is crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. So I can do bad all by myself. Why y'all sue? So Inaz, this is you and I. Why are we single? It was gonna be like, why are you single? So last night it was a question that came up, and the question was,
Don't include her in that.
what were the single ones? You don't have to put your personal. I was just saying that, but Amanda Seals came. They were talking about Amanda Seals and why Amanda Seals is single. Now, after watching her last night and seeing some other things, I can see some characteristics why people would be like, it may be she's an attractive woman. She's a smart woman and she seems to have her business together. However, she's just impulsive a little bit. So I can see what that can be, that can hinder her in the dating market. But we're talking about just people in general, women in general, right? There are a lot of women who are single. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight.
Minus Enas, but everybody else, yeah.
Minus Enas. But even at this age, you know what I'm saying? So even if you're in a relationship, so when I say single, I mean excluding a relationship. Like you haven't tied the knot. You haven't, and it's not even you. We're not talking about Enas tonight. We're just talking about in general, okay? But because I would be in that category. But why are so many women of color single? Enas fine as hell. That's what this man said. Why are we so single? I find that the finer you are, the more picky you are. Because the options are just there, Sometimes having too many options is not necessarily a good thing either, as we can see with both men and women. Right? Because it's like, oh, the grass always green on the other side. And then another one come. And it's like, oh, candy shop, so to speak. But let's get into our first video. If I can see it, y'all, look at this. I can't find my glasses.
You don't want to wear those glasses. You're not fooling nobody. Do you think those glasses? This nigga is crazy.
Who?
I got the last one already. My son named God.
Okay, let me just hope this is it, okay? You know what? Let me just look at the videos before I can see the pictures. What do you say about my glasses, mister? What you just
that you don't want to wear glasses. I think
I do. I just be putting them down and I'll be knowing where I put them.
No, you don't. I think you feel that they change your look dramatically and you like
they irritate me. They irritate my nose. Like I don't like things sitting on my face.
Maybe that's why you single.
If a man come and sit on my face, that's a problem. That is a red
I said
flag.
things. You said you don't like things sitting on your face. I said
You wake up and like, oh, never mind. Let me stop that. Okay, never mind. It was too much. um, too much for the night. I'm not doing this with y'all. Okay, so
They ain't ready for that. They ain't ready for that.
Okay, so let's start with this woman. Okay, I see it now.
Single by choice. I will tell anybody, do not come in here and disrupt my peace. If you're not going to protect my peace and preserve my peace, I'm not interested. I am open to the idea, but it just has to be right.
Sociologist Chris Marsh is the author of the new book, The Love Jones Cohort, Single and Living Alone in the Black Middle Class.
It's funny you say that because I never forget, I think it was my senior year of high school, and my father encouraged me to stay loyal to my career because it'll be more loyal to you than any man. My mom was on the other side and said, but a career can't keep you warm at night.
Like, yes, a career cannot keep you warm at night, but you got a whole bunch of like heated blankets and stuff
That, you know, it's so funny. She said her dad told her to stay single, and her mom told her. And then I listened to a great artist by the name of, well, some people think he's great. He wasn't my favorite artist, but Biggie. And I do believe there was a Biggie lyric that popped out at me, and he was saying how he was going to teach his daughter not to rely on no man. What song is that? Because I was on the radio, and I'm not really a Biggie fan.
it's teaching my daughter Tiana not to rely on no man. I know the song you're talking about.
So that seems to be a man thing. Y'all love to blame women for that, but it be them daddies that be like,
Maybe so you got kids who got different personalities. So my daughter, I think her personality is developing, and it may not be. But as it is right now at 5, it's a good chance that she needs to focus on her career too. Because if I can't see no man dealing with that personality, that's the type of man she wants. We working on it. We working on it. But these attitudes, the temper tantrums, and all that stuff, a father might have known. She might just, you can't lie. Some people got bad attitudes, and you could tell as a parent when your child got attitude, you're not gonna deal with.
That woman seemed calm. But I saw a video. It was a Hispanic man, and he was changing the tire. He was trying to show his 2 little daughters how to change the tire. Did y'all see that reel? And then she's like, I'm trying to teach my kids not to rely on no man. And the daughter was like, I want a man. And he was like, oh, anybody have anything to say about the video? Sorry.
Well, I was going to piggyback off of what you said in terms of, I actually do hear a lot of men pushing their daughters to be independent. Not necessarily say not get a man, but kind of like, I'm going to teach you these things so you'll know how to do it. You can't depend on a guy to do it for you. Those are the kind of things that I hear, not necessarily saying you don't need a man, but when you really think about it, you're prepping your daughter to be able to take care of all of these things herself. So how do you balance that between sending mixed messages?
I think it's to what Marcus said, right, about personalities. I don't think it's always just about bad attitudes, but if you see that your daughter's constantly making bad decisions, then the likelihood of picking an inadequate partner is pretty high too, right? And so in order to still be able to live a certain quality of life, she needs to do things that aren't necessarily restricted to gender roles, right? That may need to be more flexible for a girl growing up like that. I think it's important to set up people for success, right? Like, we never want to promote being so independent that you can't get in a relationship. But if you choose a man who isn't that hyper masculine man who can either get those things done or pay somebody to do it, then what are the options if she's going to partner up? She's going to have to do those things. Otherwise, they're both SOL.
No, I don't think personality has anything to do with it. Guys they teach who they are, and they're taught to go and get things done and do this and do that. He's not thinking that her personality is going to be problematic, so she need to get a career. And I think subconsciously, especially in some other places, sometimes what men do, if she can take care of herself, that means he ain't got to take care of her. Now, he'll still look after her and care for her and do all those things, the fatherly duties, receive the calls or try to help direct and correct certain things. But for the most part, like every father at some point wants you to be self-sufficient because that means it's not going to be on him. But also, it's just like a lot of brothers try to push the thought away of his daughter getting into a relationship with a guy. That's just a natural thing. Like they protect this precious little flower, which is their little flower, and they don't want nothing to happen to them. And a lot of brothers try to protect daughters from themselves. Because if they was out there in the streets from doing all of this stuff, they don't want to subconsciously see the same thing they were doing happen to their daughter. So they try to push out longer them having to deal with the reality that she's a woman and that she might procreate or get in a relationship with a guy, and they just don't like that feeling subconsciously. But I don't think personality has nothing to do with it. Men, they train people how to be like them. They try to make you more logical, they try to make you more productive, try to eliminate as many obstacles for your personal success. And sometimes the advice that men give daughters can sometimes be a little short-sighted.
Do you think mothers prepare their sons to be husbands? Do you think fathers prepare their sons to be husbands?
I think
Yeah,
mothers.
fathers,
Go ahead.
I would say fathers particularly don't necessarily teach men how to be husbands. I think they teach them the habits of men, and sometimes that helps create being a good husband because if he's productive, he's honest, fair, and stuff like that, like, and he has certain character strengths and stuff like that, intangibles, it could help him transition to eventually become a good husband, a good father. But as far as teaching him how to be quote unquote a husband, I don't think fathers is doing that. And on the flip side, I think mothers, they have a very strong protective bone for both their kids, men and women. I just think the way that they teach their men, they just teach their sons not to be a danger to the women for the most part.
So my daughter right now, she'll like go cook food and bring it to me and then try and take my shoes off and bring me my shoes and do all this stuff like catering. And I think she got that from watching her mom. Maybe I got an attitude. I don't know. Because I don't know where this attitude came from. It might have came off a YouTube show or something. But my mom told me specifically that I needed to have multiple women. She never tried to, like, because my father had passed away. She told me, like, you gotta, if you're in walking distance, then they need to be 12 blocks away. And if you have a car, then they need to be one town away. But you should have multiple women. She told me that from the very beginning of life. Nobody told me to be.
That's toxic.
Well, I'm glad your mama told you something because my mom nor my father didn't really give me much guidance as far as relationship wise. A lot of the stuff that I learned as I continue to deal and listen to women because I used to be a listener and I just listen to the women's problems. Or if I'm talking to a woman currently, I like to listen because if I listen long enough, I'm going to find out what the true issue is. Right. But it's just like, none of my parents really gave much relationship advice at all. Now, my dad, he did tell me this one time. He said, son, don't get your honey where you get your money. And then inadvertently, I heard a story from my aunt. And he told me about how they met, how my mom and my dad met. And so my dad went to the bank one day and he saw my mom, and he was like, oh, she was the beautifulest woman ever. And he like low key was like stalking her. And he would keep coming to the same place in the hopes that he would see her. Back in the day, it would seem kind of romantic, but right now, we kind of see it's kind of stalkerish. But eventually they got together and they started dating. And then I said, wait a minute, Dad, you told me don't get your honey where you get your money. And you literally got your honey where you got the money. And I said, are you expressing regret, Pop? And he was like, man, shut up. And I was like, oh, okay, fair enough.
That sounds good until you find the honey when you get your money and you're like, dang.
But what I was going to say, I think for the most part, I'll say in our culture, because I can't speak on other cultures, but because I do think in some other cultures, they do train you to be a wife or be a husband. But I think for us, mostly, we learn by watching. Right. So it's not that anybody directly teach you and say, okay, when your husband come home, you got to take the shoes off. You got to put, like, we're not taught those things, but we see what happens and then we repeat what we see, and that's whether it's a husband behavior, just certain things. Right. So I think husbands do teach their sons how to be a husband by the way that they act towards the mother, and vice versa. The wife teach the girls how to be a wife by the way they watch them treat their dad. And then that's what they emulate. Or they'll pick out things that they, will be willing to do or not. Because I could say that was me. Certain things that I saw the way my parents interacted, I'm like, that ain't gonna be me, So I think that's where the personality part will come in. And that's probably what your daughter will be like. She'll be somebody's husband. It's just gonna be certain things that she may
Somebody's
not.
wife.
Sorry. Somebody's wife. Thank you for catching. But she'll be somebody's
You put
wife.
that in existence,
That she'll be somebody's wife, but not necessarily be exactly in alignment the way that her mom is.
That's fair. You ever seen the Addams Family? You see how like Morticia and what's his name? What's the husband in the Addams Family? How they be carrying on in the house? We be in the house doing that type of stuff. So my son should not go out in the school doing that because he go get in trouble with sexual harassment or something. There's too much handsiness going on in this house.
Well, I
think be emulating that.
Yeah, so I think that's the importance of you teaching your kids, like, you don't touch people, you don't allow people to touch you, like the kid talk.
Oh yeah, we had that.
Yeah, so that's
important. But I've had certain people, certain parents, like they actually teach their children, hey, this is what you need to do for a woman, and this is what you need to do. Or I've literally said, hey, you need to go and fix this plate, because I only got a chance to like see it live, like when I used to go to my family reunions in Connecticut, and you just see all the different family members and all the people, all walks of life and stuff like that. And then some of the older people be like, why you ain't get that man a plate? Or why you talking like this? Chill out and go sit down over there and do that. So I think there are some times where mothers and fathers, and they will teach, but a lot of us, I think, as mistaken said, is you just are just emulating behavior you saw, and it wasn't necessarily teaching. Because when I think of teaching, I think about what a teacher does. Like, hey, here's what we're doing, here's why we're doing it, and then you got to apply the things that you learn. If they're just doing stuff but not explaining, that's how we start picking up stuff, and we don't know why we doing it. Like the whole thing that I hear people talking about, people used to watch their parents when they filled up on gas. They would just stop at a whole number, right? They'd be like 25, 30 and stuff like that, and nobody ever questioned it. Then there were some people that started questioning. It's like, why do we keep doing this when we don't have to? And then some of the parents were explaining, it's easier for me to balance my checkbook if my gas is at a whole number instead of it like at 15.47 or something like that. So they were literally doing it to make balancing. It made balancing easier. And I was just like, dang, we're out here following behavior that we don't even know what the reason why we doing it. Just
did we really get that from our parents? I don't remember. Listen, when my mom would, one of my family members is pumping gas, I ain't looking at them. I'm doing something else. But I will say this: when I was growing up, we used to have full service gas stations. And they were around for a good bit of time where you didn't pump your gas at all. You just throw it up and
They still have it.
Was this the Prohibition era?
No, Jersey, there's full service. You can't pump your gas in Jersey, in New
Yep.
Jersey.
And some places in New York too. And that's the only way I experienced the full service. Because I used to be confused when I used to go up the Jersey Turnpike, and they'd be like, "Hey, you got to stay in the car." I'm like, "Bro, we pump our own gas." And he was like, "Nah, we do it for you. This is a service." And I was just like, "Nah, I'm good." He's like, "No, we got to pump this gas." Like, all right, bro, don't want to fight you over gas, bro.
Yeah, we have. I grew up pumps where it didn't turn into you do full service, or you had a choice to do full service, and then you can do independent, and then it just turned into, I guess, the attendant. They just got, But I really wish they would come back. I would tip.
My husband's my full service. I don't ever get. I can't.
Well, you ain't with him all the time. You drive.
No, I'm not. But that's one of the things that I can't appreciate. So we were talking this weekend, like my sister, my brother, all of us, and one of the questions that was asked, what are some things that your spouse does that makes you either like feel like a man or feel like a woman? And that was one of the things that me and my sister both said, was that the fact that they take our cars and put gas in them without us having to worry about it. Every week he'll fill my car up. And my sister said that her husband, not that he did it every week, but she loves when he does that. So you feel taken care of. So I appreciate.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead and ask it.
Hey, do you drive by the gas stations on low gas and
Sometimes.
then he will go fill it up?
No, it's just every Sunday that was my gas fill day. So whether I have a lot of gas in the car or not, that's just our normal routine.
Okay, fair. Because what used to piss me off on the women that I know, they would ride by 5 gas stations on their way, park the car, and be like, "Can you go get some gas for me?" Woman, you walk by 5 goddamn gas stations before you got to this house.
You walking?
So what? Drove by. I apologize, but this was consistent behavior I would hear and see from women, whether I dated them or somebody else dated them. They would literally just drive by all the gas stations and all the things, and you literally could have got gas before you got here. Now it's on E. And now you want me to go fill it when you could have filled it on your way here, That was used to bother me.
I feel you. So anyway, did we ever mention the video? Go ahead, Inaz.
I want to hear what Inaz was about to say.
Yeah, that's what I was like. Go ahead, Inaz.
I know what she's gonna say.
I don't know. I think there's something about giving the energy you want to get, right? Because you just mentioned women being taught to fix plates. Right? She's going to do it whether she's tired or not. She's going to do it whether you just ate or not. Like there's something about reciprocity that becomes important. I know it can get annoying. I'm sure she gets annoyed about fixing a plate when it's inconvenient, but you care about that person. That's just something you do to make their life a little bit easier. No?
Yeah, but we could have fixed that before it was on E, before you almost had to travel across all this stuff. And that's another issue that you sometimes run into when you deal with women, is that they bring the stuff to you at the last minute. Now they make it all urgent, and you're just like,
so okay,
you're not going to die.
Here's why I say that, right? Like, imagine having children, and I was always taught that the man of the household gets his plate first, right? So you got kids who are hungry and screaming. I don't know if you've been around hungry little children, but they are a menace to society. And you're still getting your plate first out of respect and love and care and decency to make that relationship work. It's not all yes, it would be way easier to give the kids food first, have them calm down, and then give you your plate. But guess what? They give it to you first because of the stature that you hold in their life. And so, again, I acknowledge that it's annoying. I acknowledge that it's not fun. But we do things when they're not fun for the person that we care about.
That's cool. But also, don't wait until it's on E. The oil filter light is on, the engine light is on, and now you want to bring the vehicle. That's just gonna piss people off. Now, granted, it's okay to serve one another. There's many people that teach you should be able to outserve each other. I'm all for that. But every time we're not firefighters. We don't need to keep being here just to be putting out fires. Like, yo, be a part of the solution, not the problem. That's all I'm saying.
Did anybody wanted to do y'all want me to show you the video again? No?
I forgot what it was about.
I'm sure it's again.
Single by choice. I will tell anybody, do not come in here and disrupt my peace. If you're not going to protect my peace and preserve my peace, I'm not interested. I am open to the idea, but it just has to be right.
Sociologist Chris Marsh is the author of the new book, The Love Jones Cohort, Single and Living Alone in the Black Middle Class.
It's funny you say that because I never forget, I think it was my senior year of high school, and my father encouraged me to stay loyal to my career because it'll be more loyal to you than any man. My mom was on the other side and said, but a career can't keep you warm at night.
Like, yes, a career cannot keep you warm at night, but you got a whole bunch of like heated blankets and stuff that
Yeah, I think it's cap.
Loyal. Our careers more loyal.
No, I think it's cap. I don't think nobody's single by choice. Maybe single by the available choice is, but I don't think nobody's single by choice.
I respect that answer.
My mom was single by choice. I promise you, she is. I think what she said that no matter how good a man is, there's still gonna be a man, and meaning that there's gonna be some things that come along with that now that she doesn't have to do, she'd rather not do. So that's where she's at. Like she was like, if I go out, I don't have to, worry about what he's eating. If I want to come home and eat cereal for dinner or have a salad, I can do that. And she's like, it's just those things that you don't think are, a big deal until you are in a space where you don't have to worry about it. And even though I'm married now, I still feel like that. Like on those times where I just don't have to worry about it and it's not a big thing, like it's something about that. It's something about just only having to worry about yourself. And I can understand why she's like, I'm good. Like I've done it in 20, I think they were married like 23 years. She's like, I'm good. So I by choice.
Without going into too many details, would it be fair to say that the experience in her marriage wasn't something that she enjoyed fully? So had she been in a marriage that she enjoyed fully, do you think she would share the same sentiment?
Tara enjoys her.
Probably
no. That's what I'm saying. I don't think it's the choices, because the choices of what she was dealing with put a idea of men in her brain that
isn't that everybody in a sense of the choices that you make is based on the experiences that you have, but yet it's still a choice.
No, so some people, I think it's a term. Is it asexual? No, it's for somebody that's completely attracted to somebody else, no matter what. They just are born that way. I forget the name of the term. It's asexual. So for that person, they might be single by choice. If somebody had zero relationship, had the option to have a successful relationship and chose to be single, then I would say, okay, I agree.
I would agree with your comment. Oh, you went out.
If you had a relationship that you would probably not quantify as the best, and then you're single, I think that's a completely different thing.
Yeah. I agree with your comment on single by choice in the sense that there's somebody that maybe you want and it didn't work out, right? So I agree with that. Look what on popped up and listen, this ain't no come when you want when you really, really won't. I'm just saying. You're welcome anytime, Trigger Mike.
What up, y'all?
Okay.
Wow, look who it is.
Trigger on the mic. But I agree with you, Marcus. I do believe that people have people that they may want to be with, and because those options are not available, it's like then they choose maybe, okay, I'll be single. I think when women say they're single by choice, I think that what that really means is there's a man who wants to marry me. It's just not the man that I want to marry.
Well, I have a question. Because single by choice mean it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm not engaging with somebody. I just may not necessarily want a full commitment, right?
Possibly,
because
yeah.
I do think men move like that, and I do think women are starting to move like that. So when we're saying single by choice, are we saying alone? Because I think there's a difference. You know what I'm saying?
I
I
think
don't think people are alone. I think that single people, most single people, especially if you can date, you're talking to somebody.
So I think that men move like that kind of in the earlier phase of their life, but I think as they get older, they don't want to be truly single. It's by choices too, because most of the single men that are single in their elder years, they're not really happy about it. They complaining about the women they feel that aren't adequate out there. So they would say, yeah, I'm happy being single, but then they'll tell you how women ain't da.
Yeah.
Like these women are wonderful, and I just don't want to pick one. Again, I would say I would agree. That's not the
Your mic going out. The last part, what did you say?
Yeah, what's the setting on your mic? Because I know mine's it's got different settings. Like it's got cardioid, it's got omni, figure eight. Like, does it have different settings on it? Do you know?
Yeah, it's a lot of settings. I don't know.
That's good.
Yeah, so you might want to after the stream, I would go and research what the different knobs settings are so that you
Mhm.
can figure out what pattern that your mic is functioning at. So that'd be easier in the future. Because I had to change mine last time because it was on omnidirectional, so it didn't sound as clear. So I
Said,
forgot.
HD, are you gonna troubleshoot the whole goddamn like?
I'll just try to listen. I want my
Goodness.
brother to be great, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
I feel you.
and
Okay, well,
Shan, she want to hear him. You know what I'm
what did you
saying?
say at the end, Marcus? Say that again. You don't even remember, do you?
Yeah, I think that some of the quote unquote single by choice is like Miss Taken was talking about. Some women are like, I don't want the responsibility of dealing with what it means to be committed to a guy. Like, I know this one grandma, she literally is like, yo, guys be hollering at her all the time. Like, she'll move in an apartment and the guys will be like, hey, baby, let me help you with your bags. And she'd be like, oh, no, thank you. I appreciate it. And she said, listen, she don't want to deal with no man because she already dealt with two men that she was married to. And those two relationships weren't good. She's like, yeah, dealing with men, I don't want to do that. I'm just going to deal with my granddaughter and my daughter, and that'd be that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ina.
So I agree with a lot of what's been said in response to the video, but that one thing at the end where she talks about the heated blankets and stuff like that, and I hear it a lot in the manosphere about women too. I think a lot of people have just lost the value in the opposite sex and have just reduced them down to like things that are replaceable. You can't replace the essence of a man through objects. You can't replace the essence of a woman through objects. And I think when we no longer look at people's humanity, it's easy to say, yeah, I can live without it. I'm choosing to opt out. Sure, there's pee in the pool. We've heard that time and time again. Let's just go ahead and say that that's a fair statement. But even then, like, sometimes you just have to do what you need to do to position yourself in a new pool. I think a lot of people aren't putting in the work to get themselves to a pool that doesn't have pee in it. And so instead of just understanding that there's other pools with no pee in it, they're saying, you know what, this pool has pee in it, so now all pools have pee in it, so I'm just never going to swim again. It sounds really ridiculous when you put it that way, but that's exactly what's happening with people.
That's what they talked about church last night. That was the exact comment they were talking about church. They're like, oh, this church did me wrong, so I'm not going to do no more churches. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
First you don't succeed, try again. Go ahead, Mike. Did you have anything you wanted to add?
Of course. This is my topic. I love these damn topics. No, but seriously, I think it's all an illusion. It's a smokescreen. I've done a lot of listening. I know I haven't been doing any streaming lately, but I've been listening to a lot of people and just listening and trying to interpret what they mean. Because what I realized, everybody's really lying, and this culture accepts that. And the reason I say that, especially on the women's end, is because women don't open up. They don't ever talk about their L's. Everything can't be a win. Every statement is a power statement, right? So even if it's something we all know is a loss, you have to somehow salvage the situation by making a power statement. That's why I'm like, it don't really fit right there. So I just been listening, trying to understand what are people really saying, because we've allowed for so long, and it's now like a cultural norm for people just to not open up about what they're truly feeling, what they're truly thinking, and just make a power statement so you look good on the surface and you don't have to expose anything underneath. And for this single by choice, I've always said it's mostly out of fear. It's just out of fear. It's a power statement being made to keep women in control, to make it seem as though they wanted it this way. That is completely against human nature, and definitely against a woman's nature to be alone. I'm always quoting Chris Rock when he said, suckers work, smart people get other people to work for them. That is the life of a woman. You can't tell me that even though you're single, you like paying your own bills and being responsible. I think women innately get all gooey, feeling inside when men do things for them, whether it's your father, your brother, your husband, your boyfriend. A major marker of your, I'm not going to say worth, but it gives you a great feeling when men extend themselves to do things for you, when you're covered, when you have a feeling of safety, whether even if it's in a romantic relationship or in your family. Women want that. In fact, you judge each other on that. Like, she don't got nowhere she can go to feel safe. I'm better than her. I watch like I said, I've been listening. So when women want to sling mud at each other, that's something that'll come up within 30 seconds. Well, I got a bunch of men that'll do blank for me and you don't, I've watched my sisters do it to each other, my aunts and my mom. They all will. Somewhere in that conversation, when they start mudslinging, a woman's value, even in small part, is about what a man is willing to do for her, take care of her, so on and so forth. So I think it's all cap. It's an illusion. And what I'll end with is that it's a power statement because they're going to deal with men. I think somebody said that. They just want to deal with men on their terms. That's it. It's just a way to deal with men on their terms. So the dude's going to come by. He's going to knock your screws loose, eat the eggs and the bacon in your fridge, put on your apron and cook. But then you're going to realize you've done it all the wrong way when your grandson see him or your son see him in the kitchen. He's like, Mama, you're not living right.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
That's wild. Yeah.
Exactly.
I agree with that.
So I think Marcus talked about old age, where this starts to unravel is when you're like, I did not set a good enough example to have anybody come replicate what I did. I'm not proud to say I did it the right way and I created other versions of myself that can do it the right way. I think when those things start to, those feelings start to come to a person, then you'll realize like, oh, this is a smokescreen. This is BS. Right. So
So I do know that there are women who don't have children, who don't have that, because more and more people are just growing to not want to have children, or just not having kids, right? But I kind of see that though, because for let's just take, I can take myself for example. I don't mind putting my business out there. Sometimes I'm like, I like the comfort of having a guy, right? But I would be lying to say that sometimes I'm like, I don't feel like being bothered with anybody today. I like being able to be like, there's nobody to be bothered with. Can we see each other tomorrow or the day after tomorrow? I do like that there is a peace in that, knowing that there is flexibility in that, right? Mm-hmm. But I know that that's not the way it's supposed to be. So again, like you mentioned, and I also think it was mistaken mention, I think when people are saying single by choice, what they're meaning is I'm not married. I'm not living with somebody. I'm not in a full committed partnership as far as when it looks like that, right? I think that a lot of people are dating people or have somebody who they consistently talk to. But the responsibility part is the part that I think men and women at a certain age, they may be just like, it's just, I don't feel like dealing with the hassle of it all. And I think that that's true for both men and women.
Yeah. I think everything comes with a trade-off.
Yeah, for sure.
And we're about to see if my data is correct, we're about to have an economic collapse about 3 times the size of the Great Recession. I think at least 3 times, because of the money that was inflated into the economy and all of that. The amount of default rates is going to be 3 times. That's why I say it's 3 times as bad, because it's projected to be 3 times as many defaults on homes. Mm-hmm. And that has, other implicating factors in the economy. So that's what I just saw that data. And in the mortgage bond market. And that is probably what's necessary to make all of those women who are saying single by choice. It really takes catastrophe for people to understand why you made certain choices, like I'm going to get married. I think the safety part for women comes in is you will probably understand you did the right things when you realize you're well insulated. If you're alone, that means that if you fall economically, you lose your job. Go here in Texas, Tesla laid off 2,700 yesterday. 2,700, 6-figure salaries, probably, right? Major implications. They are firing DEI, which is all women. It's all women and rainbow people, right? So it's like these people that had the ability. That's really what it's about. The ability to claim single by choice. They're no longer going to have that ability. It was all a benefit of like comfort, right? Of the world that we created. You comfortable enough to say you're single by choice because you don't have any needs, right? So you have a way to pay for your water, pay for your housing, pay for food. But I think in the catastrophe that's about to happen, people are going to be singing a lot different tune, because I always say being single, or independent is synonymous with being alone. Who's going to cover you? Who else you got? It's just you. So I've always known that one catastrophe, one storm is going to wreck you. That's the way it works. It's going to wreck you. You have nobody to fall back on. So that's the sad part.
Sugar Mike, do you think it's the majority of value that men provide in a relationship is financial?
It's the least. It's the it's the lowest amount of value that we provide.
But then if that's the case, then your argument, if that's the least that they provide, then that economic argument, would that not be, would that be invalid?
Well, what I don't mean it in the way, what I mean is that if we are determining our value to say, when I talk about this with, let's say, my wife's friends, we know, we don't have to cover it here. We know every statistic a child suffers from if their father's not in the house.
Oh, well, of course, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm saying that's where my value is. That's
right.
So yeah, I'm saying my values, characteristics, work ethic, all of that, it is a part of my duty to keep a roof over everybody's head. But if I wasn't here, your mom could do it. She wouldn't be happy about providing for, women will naturally provide for their children, but an extension of that, meaning you providing for a man to start to have an attitude, then she's the only one providing for her parents because they're sick. No. Well, a man usually comes in and kind of puts a blanket over the whole situation. So, and it's way more than financial, in my opinion.
Did anybody else have anything to contribute to that conversation?
Listen, when people, mainly women, talk about how much women aren't in the threat of danger, right, as often, they're like, oh, guys always throw up protection, and it's happened so rarely that a man would actually have to put his life on the line to protect you. Listen, I tell women all the time, you walk down the street by yourself, you'll get a dramatically different response from people than when you walk down the street with a brother. I'm telling you, walk through your neighborhood normally, you won't notice a darn thing when you're with a guy. But if you start walking by yourself, I'm telling you, listen, if women really understood just being in proximity to a dude, like just being able to mention that there's a potential dude around on the phone or anything like that, listen, there is so much protection. But just because he's not diving over bullets, he's not kicking dudes down the street, you know what I'm saying? He didn't roll up with the 12 gauge and talk about who wants some because the Girl Scout cookies are knocked on his door at the wrong hour. You know what I'm saying? It's like, because men ain't doing these super extravagant displays of physical protection, you think that this dude being here don't give automatic protection. And I just like, oh, Jesus Christ.
This is so funny because it reminds me of a link. So you know how when you watch one thing, it comes up on your algorithm, right? And so I watched this guy. He's a storyteller. He tells you all the bizarre things that have happened, these case stories, right? And the story came up where the University of Florida, there was a serial killer going around killing the students back in the 80s or something, 80s or 90s. Well, one student, she was like, well, I'm not really worried because I have a male roommate, right? And so she was like, I live with a guy. He's a big guy. And he ended up coming after both of them. He ended up getting both. He got him first, and then he went to. So sometimes that protection, it don't be protected.
I hate those one-off examples.
No, every man ain't no hard man.
No, it's not. It's not about that, Shan. I hate those examples. Let me tell you why.
I'm just telling you telling you the story.
But this is also
the story.
But this is what I'm saying. HD. It's because this is something that needs to be understood between men, because if our instincts are different, our protective instincts are different over our sisters, like our family, women in general, the people that we hold dear, our children, our protective instincts are different. We see things as men because men are the ones who commit basically all the crime, right? So whenever we create a environment where women don't have to be vigilant, it's because we were present. They didn't even have to look up while they were walking because we were present. 99 times out of 100, they won't notice a damn thing. They'll just notice that once. So it's our duty, whether we get acknowledged or not, because they won't even understand. Not all women, some women understand. They won't even understand that they were being protected in that situation, right? They won't even get it that, man, this nigga was looking at me like, and then when we pass, you got a problem? You got a problem, nigga? What's wrong? But he didn't do anything because it's like, if I really act like I got a problem, I might lose this fight. If you accept every fight, you might lose. That's why some men usually don't want to go there. It's like, if I take it there, I might lose, right? Or I want to back at her. I'm trying to holler at this lady, but I don't know if this is her nigga or brother or whatever. I don't know what type of time he on. She walk here all the time. I'll try to catch her by herself, right? So they don't know that it's us protecting them.
I get it. It was just funny how I just saw that. But go ahead, Ina.
So here's the thing: is that women do get it. So right now, all over social media, it's women bragging about being able to turn off their brains around their man. Right? I don't have to look up from my phone because I got my man with me. And some guys are now hopping on this trend, and they're recording their women literally head down.
Oh, I did see
And as
one.
he takes a step, she takes a step. He takes two, she takes two.
He
So
like grabbed her arm like you just about to walk into a bunch of people. Like, yeah, I think I saw that.
not even like it's that energy connection where like she knows he takes a left, she takes a left. Like she understands that like I don't have to be around my surroundings. So women do appreciate it.
Mhm.
There is a caveat that we just don't talk about very often with that. You have to be the type of man that other men respect or fear, or both. If you are not one of those things, your physical presence is really not intimidating or deterring to anybody who has ill intentions. So
I
I'm not
get it.
saying that hang on.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that to demean anybody. What I'm saying is that protection is layered.
Mm-hmm.
We focus so much on physical protection that when you are that person who can't offer physical protection, you risk being thrown away, even though there are all of these other layers of protection that you can offer, that are important, that are valuable, that are coveted by women. You being a rock for a woman when she's having emotional turmoil, that is protecting her from herself. You helping guide her make decisions that are better for her, that is another form of protection. You being there and hearing people talk smack about her and you're standing up for her, that is another form of protection. None of that is physical. If you are a small guy and you don't look very intimidating, you don't look like you can fight, and maybe you can't fight at all, you still offer protection in other forms. But when we don't have conversations about stuff like that, women go, okay, well, he doesn't fit the bill, so on to the next. And we wind up in these situations where people are just opting out and saying, I'm single by choice, because they no longer see the value in the person.
So I only have one right.
What Enos said with the other protection, and actually, Mike, you said something. I'm compared it to Mike has said the financial part was the least, right? Not saying that it's not important, but it's the least when you have the other things like character and values and stuff, when you compare those, right? I think it's the same thing on what Inaz is saying in terms of protection. Is not that women don't value or appreciate the physical protection, but so much emphasis is put on that. But when you look at the totem pole of protection, that would be at the bottom, because that's the least likely aspect of protection that you're going to need on a regular basis. It's the other areas of protection that Inaz were talking about that women need on a regular basis. And that is the area sometimes where men lack. Creating a safe space is a level of protection. You know, those things are the, like she said, the non-physical things, but
Yeah.
those are the things that are needed most of the time.
So I have a question. So oftentimes in these conversations, because it brought me back to the reel that Enos just mentioned. These are things that you're absolutely right. Men offer these types of protection. The only problem is they want to offer, for the most part, not you men, because you guys have all been, they want to offer these protection without the true sense of protection. And that's marriage. Because you can protect me now, but it's temporary protection, right? I can't help you for a lifetime. So yes, you're protecting me for the moments that you're with me. But what about the all-time protection of, like, listen, I'm taking you under my wing. There's a covenant, and all of those things.
Yeah, I don't think we have a society that encourages that at all. In fact, we got to understand that the man is being told he shouldn't do it. I think we had a conversation months ago, maybe about a year ago, where it's a very confusing time to be a man.
Look at this comment. It's too dangerous.
Yeah, so
and the crazy thing about it is you're the protector, but you feel like that's too dangerous.
Well, take a moment and listen to what he said. Mm-hmm. The protector feels like the institution of marriage is dangerous to him. Who's the counterpart in that? Women are making men seem like marriage is now dangerous. Marriage is something that was pretty natural. before. It was something that you would do to honor the woman. She just here, man. She about to have my kids. This woman just serving. I gotta honor her. Now it's like, wait, I could lose what from this? I could be in the hole this way. I could lose my like. So it's like it's been made into something dangerous,
So
and I think yeah.
So what are we talking about? If you're saying we don't want marriage, the whole conversation is thrown in the trash. She's gonna be single. What's the point in having this entire conversation if he can't even give you the protection because he's not even willing to provide the protection?
I don't think, people get really mad when I say this, but the what's going on in society. Remember, I always say men have not changed at all. Women
American society, United States.
Women have changed. Women are trying to spread their wings, figure out what they want to do, develop new interests, new lifestyles. Mm-hmm. Men will naturally start behaving the way our grandfathers and forefathers behave when all of that stops, right? When femininity starts taking the forefront, masculinity will do what it does. It's a natural ebb and flow of life. And I think that what I was saying before is that it's not promoted to protect women anymore because we're actually hearing, I don't need your protection. It's a very confusing time to be a man. The second you do anything from instinct as a man, because what it really does is that to protect a woman, you have to acknowledge her as weaker than you. Mm-hmm. Does the modern woman want that? You see what I'm saying? You got to put your hand in front of her and be like, back up. I'll take care of this. Remember, y'all are our equals now. So you don't want to be known as weaker than me or even be symbolic. Even that symbolism is now, undesirable for a woman. I've seen that in the workplace a lot. Anytime a man even does something chivalrous, I can stand. Why do you need? It's like, oh my God, like you're just like what?
Well, now you're talking. Most women don't do that. Most women would allow a man to cater to them. That's so small. Few people who are like that. You just talked about the outlier. That's the same with the women. Most women ain't sitting here like, oh, I can do that. They be like, do it. Let's just be honest. But again, if you're not, we can toss the entire conversation away because the only people that you have to protect is your family, right? That's the only people that you are really protecting. So what it seems like, and this is both men and women, everybody wants benefits without the responsibility. Everybody wants the benefits of the relationship. Men want women to fall under their belt, but they don't want to give them the security, right? Women want men to be financially taking care of them, but they don't want to do it's too many people trying to get these benefits of a relationship without the relationship.
I got a question for Miss Taken and Trigger Mike. Miss Taken, why are women equal to men in this day and age? And Trigger Mike, why are women equal to men in this day and age?
I don't think that we're equal.
But that's why I asked Miss Taken and Trigger Mike specifically.
Well, see, we're different in terms of mindset around that. I know y'all don't agree with me, and I'm okay. I'm gonna stand on my 10 toes down, whatever. I definitely think that we are different, but different does not mean deficit, right? So when you say equal, I would say, yes, we're equal in terms of the way that we were built, in terms of what we are supposed to bring to one another. You need what I have and I need what you have. Mm-hmm. So in that regard, I would say that what we provide as individual, as me as a woman, you as a man, is equal. But in terms of what it is, our roles or responsibilities and things are different. And I think that's where we get into like this push and pull, because for guys, a lot of times is about, power and headship and things like that. And I get it. And I do agree that a man is a head of a household, right? But at the same time, when we were talking about this the other day, where they were talking about like the synonym not synonym, what is that saying? Like the man is the head, but the woman is a neck, right? And it's like the head can't function without the neck either. So it's like, if I just have my head, but I can't do anything else, how important is the head without the rest of the stuff that you need? So that's why I say that it's not that one is better than the other. It's just that the things are different, and you need both of them. That's just my take on it. I don't care if anybody don't agree with me. I'm good on that.
I agree with everything that you say, Mistaken. I just, when it comes to relationships, the only thing I think give leverage is that men have. Go ahead. What you gonna say?
No, my bad. I meant to send that as me. I sent it as Lapeef Network. My bad.
What was the question again, Marcus? I just want to make sure I'm answering it correctly.
It was only for Mistaken and Trigger Mike.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
It was why, because Trigger Mike I know Mistaken has been vocal about that women and men are equal, and there's no real difference. And that, am I echoing?
I never said there's no difference. I've always said that there's a difference, but I said the difference doesn't mean deficit.
I didn't get to the point. I wasn't saying that there's no real difference in men and women, but there's no real difference in so I was going to gender and sexual marketplace. Because you know your thoughts about how you feel like polygyny and polyamory. So that's where that came from. But Trigger Mike, you said women are equal now. So I was wondering why you said that. Like, what do you think that women are equal in? You on mute.
You're on mute. You're on mute.
No, I'm saying it as that's the social agenda. I didn't say it as if it was what I believe, but let me tell you what I believe. Apart from Mistaken. So interestingly enough, Mistaken, I was about to go get my piano because you was tap dancing like I'm around that question. Boy, you was like you said that we're equal, and then made so many statements that were like showed us that we aren't equal. You said, I believe a man is the head of a household, head of a top. That's a statement of I guess submission, and I think that's a part of the problem that we have in like this power struggle and relationship dynamics, is because there's nothing wrong with a woman saying he's the head. Like the women that I know that function the best within relationships and life in general. And I'm gonna give you a quick qualifier for this. Men understand this already. When we get together, we establish a hierarchy immediately. We know who the top dude is. Like, you see what I'm saying? We know who the top dude is. He knows this. He can galvanize everybody. This dude is the smartest of all of us, and he got to work right away, and he stays awake the longest, so he should probably be in charge. If they ever took a vote, we probably all vote for him. We understand the hierarchy naturally, so it's our women that can't fall in line with that, but are asking us to be the head. This is why I'll say we're not equal, because anytime I've ever tried to, in any relationship, romantic, social, friendship, anything, women have put expectations on me to make me superior to them. If I remember being in a place where most of the people, I think I was in nursing school or something, an argument was going on, and the women just said, "You're a black man and you didn't stand up for us and you didn't protect I was sitting there doing my goddamn work. Every time I sit there and try to play that equality game, women want to make me superior and the head of the situation. We are not equal. So and I think they do that naturally. You know what I mean? So I can't say we're equal at all.
Have y'all noticed like an uptick in men saying the same thing about why didn't you protect me to other men? To me, that's like the weirdest thing ever, to look at another man and ask him why he's not protecting me. But have y'all noticed like men saying that?
Anything in a soft man era?
I wouldn't even say it's a soft man era. So, like on the internet, right? Say one of y'all just start acting ratchet, and you get into it with Trigger Mike. You and Trigger Mike going back and forth. Then Trigger Mike look at me and say, "Marcus, you let her do this." I'm like, "I want a panel like you. What are you talking about? Like, how do I let her do anything? StreamYard let her do it. Her mic let her do it. General Electricity let her do it. I just sat here in the chat. But it's just like I never knew. Like now in this, now I do know this example. Say we go to the club, right? And we get into a fight, a big ass fight, and you don't help. Okay, you let them jump me. You know what I'm saying? But if you're in a one-on-one fight with somebody, if I jump in, it's almost like saying you can't do something as a man. Like I would like, so if I'm fighting somebody and my woman right there and she jump in, I would feel disrespected. Like, even if I'm getting beat up, stay out of it. Like, hey, just go get safe. Don't jump in and help me. To me, it's kind of, I don't know. But I've noticed that recently that men really take offense to when other men don't jump in today. And y'all telling me y'all haven't seen that?
Okay,
I think,
are you talking about on panels or are we talking about in real life? Because I
Where do you
have
develop
always,
that at? Like, do you just come on the panel and say, you know what? Now I want men that, like, I just,
come on, bro.
thought
Who
never
were they
occurred to me in
raised
real
by?
life or on the panel.
Emotionally, who were they raised by? Where did they pick that up from?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking. Because
My
to me, it's
father
just
would
weird.
slap the shit out of me if I needed help. And you know what fathers tell their son: hold your own. Nah, bro, hold your own. Take your ass back out. Like, you see what I'm saying? Do that by yourself. That's how you learn. No, who did they learn that from? Victim blaming and all that. Come on, that is a byproduct of too many men being raised by their moms and telling them, you know, asking for help is another way of projecting blame onto others. Share this blame with me. You see what I'm saying? Like, my dad never did no shit. Like, I ain't never seen that.
To Marcus's defense, some of these guys are raised in two-parent households. It is not just the men
niggas,
who
that's what
are
you're saying?
raised in single-parent households who are moving like this.
yeah, but you're not gonna sit here and say all dual parent households are the same. You know darn well there's mad people that got jacked up relationships that they've been married for 20, 30 years, producing worse kids than the people who are single parents. So just because you got the two parents doesn't mean that you're in an environment that's conducive to you actually being a productive human being. It just means you have a better chance of a better outcome.
I understand that. I definitely understand that. What I was getting to was that there's so much flack being put on single mothers, and I'm not advocating for single mothers. That is not what I'm doing. But there is so much blame that's put on there that we're not actually putting the ownership on the person, and we're blaming it on the circumstances.
You know what I think too, Enos? Because I will say you're right. It is like that, but it's this thing that happens where 70%, God, 70% is a large number. So we'll say single mothers control, we'll say single mothers control the Black community and the children. Because unfortunately, every Black person alive today, 70% of them were raised primarily by a single mom. So they've controlled the product that's been put out there. And so in a way, I'm saying that they control the culture. They have controlled the culture of what happens. So even people who have friends that are, you know, that came from single mothers, they will adopt some of these things as cultural norms. I've seen that, where everybody's doing it in your group of friends. So, and we usually just call them bands. Like, that's some bitch ass nigga shit that you did, but it's because your boy did it. So now you think it's okay to do it, right? So it's a cultural thing.
So my father had passed away, so I was raised with my mother. When she would try and do things that I felt was not masculine or effeminate to me, I just would say no. Did y'all like experience that too? Where you like, because people that say I was raised by my mother, so I turned out this way. But in me specifically, maybe this is unique to me. So I'm asking as a general question. When that thing that you felt was not man-like, like my mother used to ask me to hold her purse. I'm like, I'm not holding your purse, put it in a chair. I don't hold purses. You know what I'm saying? Like, she was trying to tell me to do something. My father wasn't there to say, hey, son, don't hold purses.
Yeah. You know what though, Marcus? I think if I could bet money that your father wasn't there to do it, but a man was. I don't know who it was, a coach. So I think it happens two ways, where some people learn a lot of man behavior from a group of men they respect and admire and are around a lot. And you naturally want to become like them if you've been starved of that example, that masculine example. I've seen that too. I've seen boys that have been like coddled by their mom, where they're up under their mama's tit till like they're 13 years old. Them gonna be some bitch ass niggas. But you know what I mean? I've also seen it where the mom is like, you playing AAU till you 18. Just get out of my face. Go with them. Coach take you everywhere. Coach take you on trip. And they end up with really mannish, like, mannerism. They really end up like some niggas, but because coach usually like a man whore banging all the moms. You know what I mean? But you see what I'm saying? They end up really mannish. And I'm like, oh, that's where he learned it from, even though his dad wasn't here.
I just wanted to address what you had said, Mike, about my response to the equality thing of being equal. And you was like, I danced around it. I don't think I danced around. I think I was clear about what I said. But maybe I need to say it another way, because your thing is, oh, well, since you said in your head, then that means you're not equal. So what I'm saying is we are equal in essence. I think we are equal in essence, but we may not be equal in responsibility. And those are two different things. And I think a lot of times what happens is when you guys are talking about being the head, because I think your mindsets are always built around competition. Like you said, competition, who's the hierarchy? That's the way your mind works. And I think as females, our mind works more in a communal aspect in terms of working together and things like that. So I think when you guys are talking like that, for me, I'll just say for me specifically, what I hear is the projection of the way you guys interact with each other. Like it has to be a hierarchy of everything. So what I'm trying to say is there's, in terms of men and women, we're equal in essence and the very nature of who we are. Both of those things are equally important because it makes us, right? So you're not better because you're a man, or I'm not better because I'm a woman. It is what it is. This is the essence of who we are. But in terms of responsibility, those things are different.
Yeah. No, I see what you're saying. It helps me understand the way you understand it. And I think I'm a struggle right now to see it because I'm a little hard-headed, but I think I'll like run this back. But this is why I think it's important for us to understand this equality thing as individual. It helps the world run better when we understand it the way the Bible put it, right? God, man, woman, child. Like it helps it because when I'm not gonna say muddy the waters because that's actually a beautiful way to put it. I would say a woman should tell that to a bunch of girls so they never feel less than a man. But you should never say that to a man, what you just said, in my opinion. You know why? It's extremely hard for a man to understand his role because even though you said that we are equal in essence, you will still impose unique, dominant expectations upon him. And what do we have right now? We have a bunch of men who don't know how. I ain't gonna say they want to. They don't know how to rise to the occasion. They don't know how to be dominant. They've been told the woman is equal, so they don't even instinctually understand that. Is this where I'm supposed to come in? You can't tell a man that the woman is equal to him. You need to tell him this is your position and this is where you stand. You're right. Like this is how my dad he would put. You will die in defense of your life. You talk to boys like that. You give them the dominant position. You leave them there their whole life so they know their job in any circumstance. That's what I mean where I say we're not equal because I say that in not a demeaning sense. I have no lag. There's no lag in me knowing my job in any circumstance. Anything where I'm needed, I step in. But it's because I've been placed in that power position by the women, by my father, but also by the women my whole life. And that's where we need to place all boys. Let them know they're in front of you, not beside you, so they know that's where they need to stand in any circumstance. That's all I'm saying.
Do you think we do?
I agree with that whole argument. We're gonna wrap it up, but go ahead, Marky Mark, and if anybody else has
Max, do you think we do a good enough job as men advocating how we're properly supposed to submit to God to other young men?
Nope.
Okay.
You asking me? Oh, sorry, I'm looking at this car. Please repeat that.
Do you think we do a good enough job as adult men or mature elders appropriately conveying the way we're supposed to submit to God and what that looks like as older men talking to younger men?
The second you mention God and men, that's the largest one of the largest divides we have. Like men are no longer spiritual. So the older men aren't acknowledging that they need to teach that because they aren't spiritual or they weren't led spiritually. They've left the church. They don't seek that type of guidance. So it's no way they could have passed that message on to the youth. So it's a huge disconnect.
Great. All right, you guys. Can somebody read that? What happened?
Sir Shy 87, salute, dog, big dog, with the $2. If women are not careful, they're gonna end up like Amanda Seals.
I don't
That
think
interview was bad.
Look, nobody. I hate when people, and I love Sir Chad. Thank you, Sir Chad, because it's not really a knock at you. But even with that comment, like, what is she ended up like? What is the alternative? Okay, let's go to the next video, and then I'm gonna bring that up because it kind of goes around with the next video. Okay, we kind of talked about it last week too, but y'all know I can't see it. Lord Jesus, help them out.
What do you think the challenge is that women are having, Black women in particular, when it comes to becoming a wife?
Keeping it 100,
yes.
There's not enough eligible Black males who fit the needs of Black women. By the time you dissect the demographics of finances, sexual orientation, what you end up drilling down into, because Black women tend to want to marry Black men.
Right.
So Black women are excelling. They're getting accelerated degrees, graduate degrees, doctorate degrees. They're starting businesses. Black women are running circles around men.
Right.
And it's also shown in research that women want to marry on their same level of financial and educational status.
Yeah.
So if you're a Black woman making $150,000 a year with a master's degree, you tend to want to marry a Black man on that same level or higher. If Black women are excelling at such an accelerated rate, how do men keep up with that?
Just saw something that was weird on my thing. I don't agree with her on some of the stuff that she stated, but I'll let you guys go and I'll say what I don't agree with. But she's a dating coach, so.
I mean, we talk about this all the time, and even when, y'all had y'all little conversation with Marcus last week, the same conversation comes up. Needs to be this baseline. He need to be able to handle this circle, garner this amount of respect, make this amount of money, look this way, being able to have this amount of character and blah, blah, blah. Like, what women want ain't gonna change, even though men change, or even though the society has changed. Like, the idea of women being equal and stuff like that, like all of these extra nuances that gets added to the variance in the area, like, women are going to continue to experience as if, and in this case, Black women, they're going to continue to experience like there ain't enough out there, because what they expect to get is based upon, what any woman would want. You would want somebody that you will respect, somebody that's superior, just like what Trigger Mike was saying. You're subconsciously always looking for a guy that's doing better than you in some form. He either got to be able to teach you, he's got to be able to cover you, he's got to be able to protect you, he's got to be able to provide things that you can't provide yourself. And if you have effectively provided all the things that you want the guy to provide, then he has to provide what you provide plus more, which is the issue that the women keep seeming like they're running into. At least the women that's like, hey, I got to at least have this bare minimum thing in order for me to engage. But then when you ask the guys on the flip side, they're more likely to flip-flop and be like, hey, as long as you don't add stress and you add to my life, I'm more flexible in all of these other realms, as long as you are a true benefit to me, whether it's financial, educational. Because when brothers meet women that are like them and they cause stress, it's like it's an immediate like, hey, ma'am, I understand you conquered the world, but you're not about to try to conquer me in this relationship.
So I disagree with that a little bit. I think men are just as inflexible in their standards as women are. When it comes to beauty standards, physical type, physical attractiveness, I think men are unyielding with that. And I don't think having standards is really an issue. I think it's important to have some because otherwise people wind up in marriages that just aren't going to wind up working out. And that's not the goal either, right? To that clip, I do want to say that this idea of formal education is becoming antiquated. With the internet, with books, with all of the other options that men have to acquire intellect, people in general, really, to acquire intellect, and with higher learning establishments no longer being what they used to be as a marker of intellect, it doesn't mean that just because somebody doesn't have a master's degree and you do, that they're not your intellectual equal. And I think that's where people really go wrong. I hear a lot of blue collar men get a lot of flack, but blue collar men are some of the men who consistently make six figures. In fact, blue collar men across North America were the ones who made sure the economy didn't collapse during Rona, right? And I think once women, when I say we, I mean women, get out of their heads about what that means and what that looks like, I think it'll open up the opportunities for the partnerships with the standards that they have. It might not be amazing, it might not be astronomical, but I think it would create a larger pool than what currently exists for them.
This is a good question though, because I keep hearing that statement, but the blue collar workers I see, they all be having families. So it's not like they're not getting women. I'm confused here. When I see a UPS driver, trust me, he got kids. It's not like these men are not getting play, and these men, they probably get more. So I don't understand that argument.
I'm not saying that blue collar men don't. I'm talking about the women that are looking for the guy, the 666, right? The guy who's this tall, who makes this amount of money, who's this. But then, like, even the money has like this caveat of he needs to have a certain level of education. I'm not advocating against blue collar workers. What I'm saying is they make that amount of money that you're looking for.
Right. But what I'm saying to you is people are talking to blue collar workers. They're not lacking, trust me, all of those women we're talking about has had a blue collar worker.
So, what I thought Inaz was talking about, I mean, because you're both right, I guess, but it exists in two different realms, right? When we get off YouTube for a week, we start to like realize like, oh, life looks a lot different. And some of the people that are the loudest in these spaces are the ones projecting these things out. But the bad part is that it does create an atmosphere and an ideology adopted by too many people who don't know any better, or too many people that have been hurt and need someone to blame. That lady, and first, I want to see the credentials of what it takes to be a dating coach. I need to see that shit because.
But she's just
anybody
what women want. But if you look at her podcast, she gets on women. She'll be like, "You guys are to your high standard."
But even her, so I'm not even saying she's not intelligent. She's just off on this. She can be an extremely intelligent woman. Like I have the same issue with Ebony K. Williams. It's very clear what's wrong with these ladies. They're usually, she looks like maybe she's over 35. Maybe one of those young looking 40s. All right. What we hear from them, that lady,
she's like almost 6. I think she's like 50 something.
The hell? Oh, okay. Damn, run that back.
Yeah, she's of age because she's mentioned it. Like she got married at.
You know what? There was a lot of makeup on. They be doing that makeup.
No, she looks good for her age. She's been on videos without her makeup on. She just looks good for her age.
But what they're doing, what you never hear, and this is what I say again: everybody's lying. Nobody looks inward, and nobody takes accountability for how their actions caused what they're going through. What she basically did was place the blame on men for being inadequate. That's something we've seen all too often now. Like you said, a large majority of the men making six figures are not only blue collar. Because what I'm trying to tell women is, because I don't want to shit on education. That's not smart. But the overexpansion of the college model has people thinking they're way smarter than they are. And unfortunately, it's the woman group that thinks that because you have a degree or anything that it automatically, it like Inan said, is a marker of intelligence. I'm smarter than you. I'm better than you. I make more money than you. It does not mean any of those three things. These get degrees. That means college stopped being about academics a long time ago. It's about profit. If if college, these should not get degrees. A's and B's should be the only grades you're allowed to get at an academic institution. All right. So I usually ask women now, yes, I think every woman in every ethnic group in America goes to college more than her male counterpart. But that should tell you that if men stop going to college, that's not where the fucking money is made anymore. Men still make more money than women do.
I think you're putting so much emphasis on money. But
no, but that's what she put. She put a lot. She said money a lot. She's basically saying women.
Well, I disagree with a lot of things that she said.
Yeah, I was saying she said women make 150,000. What woman? That like she's talking. You know that's what for black women in general. That's a very low number of women that make that. Very, very small number. Why would you even bring that number up? Right? The amount of black male millionaires to female millionaires is more than 10x. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, why would you bring it up as if women are always on top of the man? It's not. It's very disingenuous.
Yeah, and we have to point out, because we've already stated this, that only 37% of black women have attended college. So there's
absolutely
the majority.
And what we need to start saying is, and this is because I'm trying to get black women to deprogram their thinking, because too many people, like we said, on YouTube and these spaces make it think that your education means you qualify for a certain type of male. And I do see the dilemma with black women, because let's say a black woman is a journalist of some sort or works in media. Black men aren't there. So you tend to look for men in power positions in the same industry you're in. There are almost no hetero black men in journalism or media, almost none. So she does not see any black man in a position of power in her field. And that does some kind of programming to make you think black men aren't powerful. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
I don't agree with you. I agree that women want men on that level. I disagree that she thinks her degree makes her qualified for that man. Two different things, right? So I think that she wants a man. Absolutely. She won't settle. She's having a hardcore. I think at this point, especially with YouTube streams, we get it. The education, all those things are not an asset. Okay. But at this point, it's still not going to change her desire. So at this point, she's thinking, I'd rather be single instead of, I understand that this is not going to qualify me for a man, but I'm still, if I can't get this man, I just rather ride this out by myself.
Okay. I would say, based upon the information that even Trigger might brought up, if we're saying that a lot of children have been primarily led and taught by women, and that also women are the main ones that are graduating from college, that is a statistical fact. Since I think it was like 2019 or 2020, women have outpaced men in graduating and getting a degree. That's a fact, right? And since the beginning, when the schools were created, going to college was about basically almost like elite. You're part of the elites. There's a class and a status that is associated when you go to college and you complete it. So it only makes sense that as women continue to get more and more degrees, that their minds will think that I have elevated to a point that is beneath the men that aren't in the same, they're not in the same spaces as the men. They're going to college, they're completing, they're going to get their masters, they're going to go get their doctorates. The men are like, at some point, a lot of the men just quit and say, I'm just going to do something else with my life, right? So then, as you continue to fight the mindset that I am subconsciously better, because it's also a statistical fact that if you have a degree, you're more than likely to make more money long term. So inadvertently, we're going to end up running into a what's the word I'm looking for? We're going to run into a big obstacle in the near future because women aren't going to stop making a lot of money because they're the only ones apparently that are finishing degrees for the most part, right? So with that being the case, do you all think that women are going to change their natural proclivities in the future? Or is it just going to be more women, quote unquote, choosing to be single?
I think, again, I think that is a small percentage of a bigger picture, right? I think we just have a tendency to emphasize those women. They're not the majority, first and foremost. Second, I think that I like everything that you said because everything you said is very accurate. I do think for some women, they may choose because we talked about this last week with mistaken. What was that? You have to sit here and think, okay, is it, so when you go to college, you start to think, is it a good investment, right? And men do this too. Are you going to be a liability or are you going to be an asset, right? And so I guess that's where that protection comes in. You have to emphasize on the other things that you're strong at because the finances can't be it, right? You got to bring something else in her life to be like, oh, I can't live without this guy. He provides, I feel safe with him because there are other ways to get a woman besides finances, okay? And I think that those things would be important to get that woman. Now, there, like I said, the majority don't go to college, so that's a totally different story for them. But for that woman, I think that she's going to either look at him like, okay, he can be an asset in my life in some type of way, maybe not financially, but some other type of way. Or I'd rather be single because it's just not a smart move. That's all I got.
We assume her argument at face value is true. What's the solution to that?
Which argument? She made a few.
She said that there are not enough men for the women that want them.
So the one thing,
black men.
The one thing that she did say that we got to give, the one thing that she did say, because it's a natural byproduct of the way the men were raised, is when she brought up the sexual orientation, right? So when I say most men were raised by their moms, you have to understand, like, I honestly think it's true when people say black men by percentage have the most of them. Well, yeah. What masculine example did you have? Like, you see what I'm saying? So I believe it. It's just a natural consequence of not being raised by a man. So by that metric alone, I do think the incarceration rate, sexual orientation will take out a good group of black men for those women automatically. The part that I don't agree with, because here's where those women messed up. That's why I said they're blaming it on the men. They used a different playbook and it didn't work. You can't wait till you're 30. You see what I'm saying? No matter what your mama told you, or you thought you could rewrite the playbook. I'm gonna start at 30. I'm gonna go to school. I'm gonna live my life. That was the worst advice ever. It has led to well. What I'm saying is, look at the women that are married. Look and remember, it's like 29 years old for a woman to get married. That means she started taking dating and marriage seriously at 24, at the latest. She met the dude at 25. They dated all the way till she was 27 and got engaged, and they got married at 29. So there is no rewriting of the playbook. You have to take relationships and marriage very seriously right after college. Or
Mike, I think this is a rumor. And I think that women contribute to this rumor. Okay. I think that most women have met a dude in their 20s that they wanted to be with. It just did not lead to marriage. So I just sit here and say that women just out here being free. I think the alternative is live your life, girl. Duck them, because you're mad, right? But I do think that women, ideally women like, 27, 20, I want to be married, 26, and they are in function, they are in relationships with a man who just doesn't marry them.
So
I don't think that
I do think you're right. I I just want to insert this part because I do think damn near all women have met that dude, right? And the dude will probably know that's the way the women felt about you on your wedding day to another woman. That's what happened to me. Like, oh shit, But the women's behavior, that's what I'm saying. Being told by their moms that they should live their life and you don't have to be tied down so early, that you can make it about those type of things. It changes a woman's behavior while she's in that relationship. It does. Hold on. It does. It does change a woman's behavior.
No, it does. I don't think the moms tell women that. That's what I'm saying to you. I think that people, I don't think women, I've never heard a mama say, go out here and be freak nasty, unless you're from the hood.
No, not freak nasty. What they're saying is focus on yourself. So we have a culture that is almost allergic to doing things and for the benefit of a man. So basically what they said was do things for the benefit of you first. So women did that. They it's
now,
me first. It's selfish. My life. Exactly. They're selfish. And when we're saying that, these men didn't marry them, it's because they were selfish. They did not get wife vibes. Remember, in order to kind of get into that real courtship process, a woman has to sacrifice a lot. When I was 20 something, my girlfriend was trying to go on girls' trips. Bye. You ain't gonna have a boyfriend when you get back. That's not marriage behavior. Like you see, you don't do that. You see what I'm saying? You talk and you act serious about that. That's what the women are doing now. You can't tell me where to go. You can't tell me how to dress. So that's the attitude now. It doesn't give off wife.
No. That, I think one statement that you said was true. That's what people are doing now. It's a consequence of behavior of the past. We weren't going on trips 10, 15 years ago. That's some new internet. I'm taking travel. Okay. People wasn't doing that when we were, they just weren't. They were booed up with a man doing all these wifely things, and they did not end up being a wife. Okay. So let's just if we're going to keep it real, let's keep it real. So I do agree that this new generation is like, bump that. I'm about to live my best life. And I'm about to, this new generation, all the traveling, people wasn't doing all that. They travel here and there, but it wasn't like a running theme. It wasn't like niggas let's travel.
Listen, we have video. Miami, Cancun, that'll prove you wrong. The women were going on trips. Women have been going on trips.
You're talking about like college day. You can't take a weekend when kids go to college weekend. So listen to what I'm saying. You can't take. So what you're trying to do is take one day that everybody gets wild or have fun, a college weekend, and you're like, but all the other 363 days of the year, she was doing the same thing she did that one weekend. She wasn't booed up. No, because sometimes the man that she loved was also there. She was traveling just to make sure he wasn't doing anything.
I really think the hot girl era, I'm trying to think, it's usually centered around something hip hop related. The hot girl era was like the 2010s, I think, all of it. What I can remember from, I'm a millennial, like I graduated college 2009. All the girls, like I said, you're dating those women from college and you're still friends with them. Everybody has each other's Facebook. That was what was popular at the time, right? Every sporting event, the girls from my college, NBA draft, they was in town. NFL draft, they was in town. Miami spring break, Cancun, like the women were traveling. They were traveling. They were living their best lives. And what I can see now, because even the men didn't talk. They just kind of took it hard. Like even some of the friends that I had that did get married early, their marriages got ruined because of that. I think men were grappling with being, labeled controlling and all of that. So they let their wives have all that freedom and it came back. and haunted them. And now they're divorced
So
because they were going on these trips.
So first of all, Girls Gone Wild was not us. That was the other one. They're probably all married right now. That wasn't us.
No, they're not married either.
Second of all, you're telling me, because most of this is like college, going out on college weekends, right? You went and date a girl because she went to a college weekend. Even if you look at, let's take a look at the Freaknik. I don't know if you guys watched the Freaknik documentary. How it started off as a college thing. It was innocent. It was called Freaknik, but it was an innocent thing. But then other people started to raunch it up a little bit. These are not the same groups of people. Okay? There was a different level to this that took place to give it its name, is what I'm trying to say.
I have a question in regards to the travel part, right? Because at first I was like, are we talking about traveling like were Black women traveling like that? Because I think, and the reason I'm saying it is I think there's a difference when we talk about traveling. I'm thinking like people hopping on flights to get from one place to the other. For the most part, a lot of times when we were traveling, I thought like with Freaknik or whatever, it was people who were already in the vicinity. Not that they're not. So you have Alabama that's right next to Atlanta, so they may drive up, or North Carolina right next to Atlanta, so they might drive up. When I'm thinking about traveling, that would be like me flying in or coming all the way from New York to try to come to Freaknik.
And it was so funny. It's so funny, mistaken, because I went to Freaknik. I think it was like 96. I did. But it was a different. So what I saw, I didn't see that because it was.
Oh, you went to the innocent freak. Oh.
Because we're not gonna do that. But I'm gonna give you what really happened. And I mentioned this even in the beginning. There are cliques, okay? We were at AUC campus around other college people. We were around more college-minded people, which moved a lot different than some other people who came to town. You understand? You know there's a different mentality. We're not going to even do that.
So, mistaken. When I hear travel, I associate it the same way Shan just did.
I did go, but I was also a virgin until I was 21. I went when I was 18. So let that sink in. But go ahead.
So I associate it to what she's talking about because it just seems to me travel is the replacement for family. Like, I don't want a family, or I'm not gonna have whatever. My life is dedicated to working and traveling, to pretty much being. I think they call it a spinster back in the day. Mm-hmm. So it seems like younger women are dedicating their life to that. I'm single by choice. I can do bad all by myself. I'm gonna travel the world and work my career, and it's sad actually. Like. When the men talk about feminism ruined relationships, it's a lot of stuff I push back on, but something had to give in between the time of women being able to actually compete and get jobs that paid more than the men and the expectation of men. Like, that needed to be addressed at some point collectively in our ideology. Because if only 10% of people can get this job and you're making into that 10%, and 95% of that 10% is already married, it's almost like you're punishing yourself for excelling, which you shouldn't have to do. But in order to not do that, you have to remove the expectation that the man is going to be in a higher position socially or financially than you. Like, I think that, like, if you like, because I would never want to say I don't want Black women to make money. I want them to make as much money as they possibly can, right? Collectively, it benefits the children, it benefits the community, it benefits everybody. So that should never be something that we push against. I think the push should have just been the readjustment of expectations the higher up the financial ladder you went. Because as men, if we said I'm only dating women that made the set like the drizzle stuff, we would perpetually be single. If I had to wait till I found a woman that had $1 million, or if I had to wait till, the expectation should have changed in regards to the marketplace. And I think that's generally their argument. I don't think it's articulated well enough that that's the only thing derived from it outside of the triggering and negative emotions. But I would agree that the expectation had to change. Like it's something had to change.
I think that, I think that if you remove that part, like let's just say he doesn't get a master, and this is just period. I think what will work is if he's at least well versed. Like if he goes out and experiences things, he learns in other areas, right? He reads, like Ina said, formal education is not always the way, right? Sometimes you can read, you can travel the world, not for girl women, but just to actually understand cultures, because people learn through that way. There's so many different ways to educate yourself. And I think that that's what women are looking for more so than when they look at men who are not educated. That's what they're looking for. They're looking, can he fit into this crowd, right? Can he carry on a conversation with these people that I'm going to have him around because my job, because we have to go to functions because of my job? Is he my equal counterpart, not necessarily financially, but mentally? Is he mentally stimulating? Can he, does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Does he move like a man with value? Like the way he carries himself.
Not only does it make sense, I think it's very condescending when those women like pretend like there aren't enough refined black men for them. We got to remember they don't like a lot of they don't like a lot of refined black men. That's the difference. I use the what's his name? Childish Gambino. What's his real name?
Donald Glover.
Donald Glover. Look at Donald Glover. Like, look at him. When I was in school, black women did not like dudes like Donald Glover. Super artistic, super smart. I call the Donald Glovers of the world the men that can exist in any room. You see what I'm saying? He can exist anywhere. He knows the customs. He speaks properly. He can conjugate a verb.
Oh, I got you.
They don't black women don't like their version of a refined black man, like all the time. And
they do.
No, I'm saying all the time, right?
He's considered sassy.
Yeah, so it's like, I mean, you got to give some leeway. I think it's capped when they pretend as if there are more of them than there are of refined black men. That can't be.
What she wants is you just up that blue collar worker, right? He work out, his body's worked out. He fine as crap, right? They want that guy to be refined.
They want ghosts from power. That's what they want. Ghosts from power.
It's just
I
something
sell
about
drugs. And I look good.
Not drugs. Don't do that. Don't do that. That's you
know what it is. It's kind of like the opposite of what y'all say. Y'all say like y'all want a wife, a freak in the sheets, but classy in the street or whatever. It's kind of the same thing with the women. They want a man that you could take them from the hood to the boardroom, right? It's the same.
Did you see that picture? That guy with the NASA with the plaits, man.
But
I know he's too young for me, but I was like,
with both of those qualities that you find attractive. So a man want a freak, but they don't want everybody else to know that their woman's a freak. So she has to carry herself a certain way.
Mistaken. Let me tell you why. Let me give y'all. Let me give y'all an example. Y'all were on social media today.
That like manly, but we need to also be able to go in places where all of that, like, know how to
smart niggas can't put it down in the bedroom. That's
this is what I meant to put down. This is
what you said, Mike.
Now smart niggas can't put it down in the bedrooms either.
No, that's not what it is
I'm
at
not
all.
saying that's not what.
No, we're saying we want a smart dude that look like that.
Right.
All right. So
we want that body with his brain.
I think we all witnessed something last night that's gonna prove my point. All day on social media today, you saw memes and clips of the NFL draft dudes, and they kept going by all of them. And who was next to all of these men? Their white girlfriend. Their white girlfriend was with them. That was interesting to me. Like the top ones from the hotel, they had her in a nice dress. Mama was holding her hand. She was on the sofa with the white girl. So that's what I'm saying.
NFL is not a prize to me. So
our women and our women need to understand that not only should you stop using formal education as a marker for intelligence or to be matched with a mate, you have to ask yourself, are we more skilled than our men?
Found those white women.
First of all, first and foremost, please don't use an NFL player as the
No. This is what I'm saying. If somebody has the work ethic, dedication, skill, what Marcus? What's when some acuity? Like you have to actually have a level of intelligence to translate into sport. Like you see, like football, it's like very strategic. You see what I'm saying? So they're geniuses. Actually, the 1% of 1% will ever make it. They're geniuses at what they do. Their competence level is extremely high, right? So that's what I'm saying. That level of black men that can reach to that level, they need to start looking at it like, how did this girl see this dude for what he was and end up on this sofa on this couch? But yet she's 40.
She knew who he was when he went to the school. Go ahead.
Yeah. So when you first come on a recruiting trip,
yes,
a gang of girls that like welcome you to the college. So when you go into the classroom,
know who you are.
They know exactly who you are before you get there. They know all your high school highlights. They know then they got a booster club. It's really like, I'm gonna keep it real. It's hard for black women to kind of compete with this specific era because then those use their father's money to entice the men. So I know the kids can get paid now, but when I was in school, it was a girl that she bought this dude a chain. Then the dude that was better than him on the team stole the girl. And she bought him a car and gave him a $5,000 a week spending thing. We broke college students waiting on Pell Grants, but this girl is using her daddy money to fund his lifestyle while we at school. And the dude that went to the NBA before we got there, she was his girlfriend before we got there. If she would have looked just a little bit better. Matter of fact, I think one of the dudes actually did wife her and take her from. She dated probably like 6 of the people on the team.
So
with everybody.
Not only, you've explained this to me before in the past. I don't know if you remember. So what you're basically explaining is that those women chose the right major. Their major actually wasn't what the hell they went to school for. It was husband hunting, right? So and the reason why I gotta respect that is because no matter what you choose to major in, you have to implement the strategy, and it has to work. And we see it at work. So that's all I'm saying. It's like that.
Trigger Mike. Yeah. The issue with that statement is black women could have wanted to be down for a man, but they just don't have the resources that Shorty was able to provide. And it's kind of unfair. It's literally like a bunch of broke men in the club and a rich dude pull up. It makes it very difficult for the other men who are broke to compete. When this dude buying bottles can buy the whole club out and you can't even really get in. You barely get in trying to holler at somebody and you can't afford to drink. Like they had an extreme disadvantage in regards to that. With only I'm speaking specifically to the athletics part. Like it's an extreme disadvantage.
When I went to Tuskegee, which was by Auburn, all those black athletes had a black girlfriend or a woman who liked them of African American descent. Now, whether they chose one, it's not like black women are not trying to date black athletes. Like they're not there for them. One thing about so what we're not going to do is we're not going to pretend that black woman, when she's in love with you, she don't go hard for you. That's what we're not going to do. And that happens even in college. If you didn't have a black woman going hard for you in college, it's you. Because most men had a black woman who was going hard for her in college. That's one thing black now. Maybe we do it a little wrong. Maybe there's a little attitude, emotional that goes along with it. But when you got a woman who's down for you, so we can, I can agree that it's a little tweaking that needs to go on. Maybe we need to learn some other characteristics that may be a little bit better.
You can't afford that attitude at all. At that level, that attitude is, you got to think, it's like at a certain level of beauty, most women kind of resemble each other. They all kind of like when you like mistake. I don't know if you've been at any when at your brother's wedding. Almost all the wives looked similar, didn't they? To the men that had money. Like all the wives is kind of like you could
going
tell
to like some of the games and going like to the back and seeing where it is the same type of
it's the same type of woman. So
Mhm.
at that level, you're really gonna have to set yourself apart personality wise and event like occasionally catch an attitude that you ain't gonna check me all that. That shit won't fly. It just won't. It won't fly. And I think it would be smart to remove that at any level if you want to keep a man. Because the same thing that can get that man is the same thing that can keep the man at whatever level that you at. Yeah.
And I think it would be unfair to say that there's another component to this, to say that there, but like, for example, people like things that are different from what they're used to, right? You give a chance to something that's different. Women like money because dang, I grew up poor. I want a man. I don't want to do that no more. Same thing with men. They be like, damn, I'm used to black women. Let me try this new thing. You know what I'm saying? She different. She brings something different to the situation. So that's just a human, that's what just humans do. It's like you're trying to get something on a different level. Like he said, they all look at the beauty standard. They all here. So how can I top that? And to them, that may be them feeling like they topping it.
So I'm gonna bring it full circle to the topic, because now it just dawned on me like why, that perpetually single by choice thing is happening, and me using the NFL draft. What it is that it's not only fear, it's not only women operating off fear, scarcity, and lack. I'm gonna read y'all a quote from like some shit that it's actually something, because when you said every man has had a black woman in college, that was my college girlfriend. She was down for me. She just had bad behaviors, that let someone else take me, that let me stray away from her. I literally thought my whole life, I'm sorry, during college, like, this is gonna be my wife one day, so this quote says, relationships never offer a guarantee, and they always require work. And therefore, they don't work for people that aren't willing to work, and they don't work for people that aren't willing to work without guarantee. And that, to me, is what's going on with the single by choice type of woman. She's not willing to sacrifice unless there's a guarantee. And there are never guarantees in relationships.
Yeah.
So that's why she only wants to mess with men on her terms so she can feel in control. I can let him go at any time. He can leave. This is my world, my space, whatever, what have you. And that's why not just, white women or anything, any woman that is willing to take the risk, because that's the way it works in business, relationships, love. If you are willing to risk and sacrifice and you understand there's no guarantee, those are the women that win most. They win most. Yes, they win most.
They do not.
So what I'm saying is those white girls can get played. Dude can play the fuck out of them. They could. But what we see more oftentimes, Patrick Mahomes, all these dudes, it's like, if I do this the right way, I might just come out being his wife.
That's the argument,
and there's no way I can ever get that position without making the sacrifice.
I think that's the difference, though. I think that so I think that women are taking the risk by being there for the guy, right? I think the problem is there's a disadvantage, and the disadvantage is this young lady has lived and she's seen how to, I like to call it the art of finesse. There's actually a book called The Art of Finesse, right? Maybe your mom was a finesser. If you're giving out gifts, she probably finessed the husband, right? So the daughter is going to be a lot like the mom. She knows the things to say. She knows how to move. She knows, and he's never been, because black women going to keep it real. We going to be like, it's that tough love. But when you're working with the art of finesse, that can work on an 18, 19, 20-year-old. And I think a lot of times, and I'm not all of them, a lot of times those women learn that from their mothers.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because I will come to the defense on some black women in this regard, that they can exude the same attitude that the other females can exude, but it will be more taxing and it will be more of a knock against her than the other types of women. Because I ain't seen a number of rich guys with these weird, unruly, white women or Asian women, and they just keep having them doing this in their ear and stuff like that. There's a number of men that were played sports and stuff like that, and they still got married or in relationships with those type of women, right? It's just that sometimes, like, I kind of agree with this, that sometimes when a black guy's with a black woman, we hold a different level of tolerance for the back and forth that we interact with. We don't tolerate as much of the attitudes of some black women, especially if you get to certain levels. But I don't agree with the idea that we were talking about earlier, which is that women weren't traveling. They were going to schools out of state. They would travel for family reunions and stuff like that. Women were getting around. Matter of fact, a lot of women that I know, they had I call it the frizzle idea. You know, get messy, make mistakes. Your 20s is for you to quote unquote to experience life. And then once you get older and you find yourself, and even Miss Taken was talking about, you got to learn yourself. You got to know who you are and this, that, and the third. How long does that take? It can take a lifetime to do that. So if that's what women are waiting for to experience and learn and go travel and go do this and figure out what they like and finding themselves and identity and stuff like that, all that stuff take time. So then if you just tack on that, hey, I'm seeing what happened to the other women and their relationship didn't last the marriage. So I'm really about to focus on me because I'm finding out that brothers ain't loyal, even though I'm doing quote unquote what I'm supposed to do. But that leads me to Trigger Mike's point and what we have talked about before. There's no guarantees, and that women are getting upset because they aren't receiving the benefits of the things that they were investing into relationships. But when the shoe's on the other foot, a lot of women laugh at the guys that give these women money, they give them time, they give them all of these things, and then they get played by these women. Literally saw a woman the other day. She was dating this dude, well, kind of in the beginning talking stages.
You
She
know
made
her,
up
or you just saw her? Because you.
I don't know her personally. She just talked about this situation,
Oh.
right? She said that there was a guy that was kind of interested, and she made up this story that she ended up in an accident, right? And she ended up in an accident with her car, and she used the story of that accident to get 2,000 from this guy for some reason, right? Then she realized that the money that he gave was going to probably insinuate to him that he should get a reward, sex or something like that, right? So you know what she did? She ghosted him, took his $2,000 and went on about his business.
She's trifling.
Be that as it may, the thing is it was his fault for giving her the money. He made an investment into that woman, and she just took that thing and just bounced.
I got
And
into an accident. I'm sorry to hear that.
you know what I'm saying? But the thing is that this is what happens all the time in relationships. What men
That's
give,
not a relationship, though. But were they in a relationship?
but even before the relationship, these men are expected to invest on the front end for the hopes of getting some sort of investment out of you.
$2,000. Yeah, he was stupid. That was dumb. But let me just say, because that's not normal. Men ain't dropping $2,000 to date. No,
But
that's
it's
a
not
very
about
abnormal
that. It's
situation.
not the specific
How do you
number.
explain OnlyFans? Can't stop it.
Very OnlyFans like.
Well, what I'm saying is it's not for us to just stop at the actual number. It's the fact that an investment of some form, for whatever reason, was given, whether it was time, money, whatever, was given.
It was wasted.
And many brothers have been robbed of this, which is why you also have the issues that women have, which is men not wanting to commit because they've invested themselves into women that they just met. And then these women was just like, huh? They took it, smiled in their face, and then they dipped.
Well, that's to me is a poor like you give somebody $2,000. That's just dumb decision making. That's a
Well,
poor
we agreed. Everybody agreed that was dumb, and he got
but
played.
so even if he gets played, let's just say let's compare the two. Even if he gets played and he lost $2,000, you can always make $2,000 back. You cannot buy back time. Women lose a lot of time messing around with the wrong man. We already talked about your 20s, your 30s are the prime of your life, right? She can't get that back. If she invests that time in the wrong man, she can't get that back. You understand what I'm saying? You can make that $2,000. Not to say that it's right, because that was just trifling. But what I'm saying is that there's no comparison when it comes to the two. And I just want to make it very, very clear. We're not promoting don't travel. Some people need to travel. What we're trying to knock down is traveling for promiscuous reasons, right? But you should travel. You should travel, learn other cultures. Like that's the best thing you can do is go to another country to learn about another culture, see how other people are doing things. Like because I'm so tired of people saying traveling like it's bad, like education like it's bad, travel like it's bad. No, these are good things. These are things you want to do, but you have to do it for the right reason.
You're right, Shan. You're absolutely right. That's why you should tell them when they say, I want to travel and see the world. Can't you do that with your husband? I'm just saying.
Absolutely. It's a great companion. Like you can do that with, right. You're right.
Yeah, I saw that video where the girls were like, what percentage of women in relationships and marriage cheat on girls' trips? Every single one was like 80%, 90%.
Like
80%, 90%. They were like, what do you think they're going for? Like, it was hilarious.
Mike,
I mean, we knew that already.
Married, then are you saying that women shouldn't travel? Like, because you're saying it is activity. Absolutely, you should and can, do that.
No, so what I will,
I shouldn't sit around waiting for myself to get married and not have these experiences. Because what if I never get married?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So you still
I'm not even saying women shouldn't travel.
Mm-hmm.
He said it shouldn't be a competition because you can do that.
Not even that it should be a competition. What I think it's really more about, it does have a liberation aspect to it, because I think what people were trying to make it was just about the traveling, and then we started seeing videos of y'all getting y'all ass rubbed on naked under the waterfall in Jamaica. We like, oh, y'all some niggas.
One video of one woman. Like
and what it is also, I think the traveling for women became widespread when it started becoming more prevalent for women to go a lot of places without men, and that's not even safe. Now we're starting to see it's not safe. It's not as safe. It's a predator's playground. Wherever women are practicing liberation and there are a bunch of women and no men, that's a predator's playground. Right? Y'all go to you can go to different countries. They're locking y'all up now. It's starting to go back to the time where it's not safe or really advantageous for women to go a lot of places, trying to spread this Western attitude of liberation and freedom, because you still have to adapt yourself to other people's culture. I told people that like 2 years ago, Dubai ain't playing that shit. Dubai ain't playing that with y'all. When women see that type of behavior and this woman like swinging on a dude, like they're like, yo, who the fuck you? We don't do that here. All women gonna do that, start tripping on us. So it's like we're taking our debauchery everywhere. It's not safe. It's not smart. We kind of, and I'm just a big person where everywhere you think you can travel or need to travel by yourself, you can do it with your husband or your family or your sisters-in-law, so on, so forth.
Don't disagree.
Yeah, and me personally, I could be off and I could be judged for this statement, but I don't think people are really learning much when they actually go travel. It's just entertainment, and y'all spending thousands of dollars to go and do the same thing you could have did up the street from your house. You did it in a new place, in a new country, because oftentimes people be like, they let their hair down, they have a great time, they experience this culture, and then they go right back to their bubble. So what you really just did is you just had a nice time out of town, and then you come back and do the exact same thing you did before you left. There won't much about you that changed when you left.
You weren't supposed to change. You're supposed to just learn. You're just learning, right? It's not about changing. You're not going there to be like, I want to be a better person. I want to be just like them. That's not what you're going to travel for. But it's good to know, like, oh, I see how the, Chinese, when I go to China, I see how Chinese do it. I like that. I dislike, you're just learning about a culture. It's not there to change.
You can read a goddamn on book. It is the internet. There's all these goddamn on shows.
You sound like my granddaddy. You can read a book.
It's totally different reading about an experience as opposed to experiencing the experience.
That's the country's thing I've heard about. Yeah.
Like reading about the pyramids was very different than me actually having the opportunity to go to Egypt and see it firsthand.
I want to see that.
When we went to Ethiopia, I didn't even know. Like we ended up going to a museum. I did not know that Christianity started there. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't have known to look that up. You know what I'm saying? Because that just wasn't something that I thought about. But being in that environment, going to Ethiopia directly, going to the museum and reading these things, I'm like, oh shoot, I just learned something. So yes, people do go to travel to learn things. I'm not saying that everybody does. Everybody's not into museum. If you're not in a museum here, then more than likely you go travel, you may not go to a museum there. You know what I'm saying? Or you may be open to going to a museum there because it's like you said, we like different things. But there is a way to travel, and it's not always about getting your back blown out. You know what I'm saying?
It's mostly not about that. So this is the thing right here. So it's kind of like saying, so this is the problem I have with men, right? They have a way of making it, they take a few things and make it seem like it's all women. Like that's the exact same thing white men do to black people. Y'all are the same way. It's just in different areas, right? Like, no, a lot of women don't do that. You like in your mind, you saw a girl twerking and she did it. Like that's not all women. Okay. And then this situation right here, he was saying how men view it, men with limited minds, because guess what? I know on a dating app, when you put down travel, there's a guy who travels like, oh, you like to travel. And like Mike said, let's travel together. That may be something he's looking for in his mate, somebody who's willing to travel with him. Not everybody looks at traveling as being a freaknik show. Some people look at it as, look, oh, that's something we have in common. We both like to experience the world. Let's do it together. Like, y'all gotta stop.
Please. Shan, you a lot like my wife. When you gonna get ridiculous from under this rock that you living on?
Look, I'm not
like you live in your own world.
You know why? You know why I'm under a rock? Because the people the people I have in my surrounding in my real life don't move like that. You understand what I'm saying? So what I'm saying to you is, it's your people. It's not my people. It's not everybody's reality. It's your circle that do that. So you may need to change your circle. You may need to change your surrounding. If you're around girls who twerking and giving their coochie up every time they go out of the country, you need to change the women that you're around.
Stop swimming in that pissy pool that Inaz was talking.
Damn, y'all said piss way too many times. And P, Inaz said it like she was rapping. I was like, damn. The pissy pool, the pool of piss. So I was like, God damn.
If you keep going to OnlyFans to find shit, you won't think every woman is on OnlyFans. Like, no, get out of the circle. The people that you are.
You know what it is, though, Shan. You do live under a rock because you do. My wife does the same shit.
I live under a rock,
and it's because she doesn't realize that birds of a feather flock together.
They
do.
In
her eyes, like she's like, I know. So many, because she's like, black women are taking care of their family. They're not leaving their men because all her friends is married. Like, I'm sorry. She now gravitates towards those married friends with kids and have play dates. So when she sees 100 black women in a group, she thinks that black women. I'd be like, do you not understand that you're one of 99? Like the rest of these ladies in the hood not doing what you're doing. Like,
mistaken. mistaken. You know all of my friends, okay? You know all of my friends, right? So this person right here, well, where's the guy who said I'm delusional about all my friends? My friends,
you're the person they don't
do
tell.
not have regular jobs.
You're the person they don't tell when they go into
the
the
only
water
ones
park.
that really got regular jobs. Most of my friends do not have regular jobs. They do not.
But you're proving his point. You're not refuting the argument that you literally gravitate to the people that operate
I'm not talking about
similar,
Mike. I'm
or
talking
they.
about the comment. I agree with Mike. I'm talking about the comment. But what all I'm saying is this, right? And this goes back to the argument of what women are looking for. Women want people who are naturally in the same circle they're in. They don't want a guy who like, oh, Aaron, I can't even go on a trip because you think I'm sleeping around because you so taunted by the craziness that is in your life. And it didn't even have to be about that. It could be any experience that you have. We just have different experiences. And I don't need your experiences taunting the way I'm living right now. Right? Your bad energy in my space. You thinking that every woman is a hoe. You thinking everything is all these negative things because you watch too much, you on the internet too much, or in your life, that's what people do. Because you bringing that over into my life, and that's not how we roll.
Ray Alexander with the 10. Is the problem that men attempt to date women who are out of their socioeconomic lane? Those same men get frustrated that they're not.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. Go back. Do that again, Marcus. My apologies. Oh.
And those same men get frustrated that they're not qualified for high-tier, college-educated career women. I think that's what Shannon was just trying to describe. Truth and reality undefeated. I'm Little Red Ranger. 499. Nug get them from 18 to 30. 2 kids later and 30 pounds heavier, they turn into sapiosexuals and want a stable man. Nug left no meat on that bone.
Nug
gets me every time, man.
Is there people named Nugs in the world?
What's Nug?
Listen, there's a Nug. I don't know Nug.
There's a new name.
In every hood, there's a Nug, a Big Red, a Black. I was Black. What other hood nicknames? Yeah, there's a Nug everywhere.
Man, no more.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Man. Yeah.
Man.
No, there's man and then man and man. 2 people, 2 different people.
And they on the same street. Oh, anyway, did we do the truth? And he just did the $4.99. Did we do that one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. All right, and we have I kind of even want to do the last video. It's gonna make people mad, and I ain't trying to ruffle no feathers today.
Do it, please.
It ain't no. It's the same.
I'm with the smoke. I'm with the smoke.
Play it.
Yeah.
I think the only people who get mad at these conversations are the people who are in these who are living it.
They're entertained. They are entertained this evening.
I'm big on this, and a lot of men disagree with me for this, but I don't think a man that's not financially in the position to have a woman should have a woman.
So broke men should not be dating.
I don't think broke men should be dating.
Okay.
I don't think broke men should be in relationships because, one, a man that's broke is not happy.
Yeah, I would agree.
Because when a man has financial income and he has money, he feels a lot better about himself and he feels more accomplished. When a man doesn't have money and he's not where he wants to be in his life, he'll never be able to focus on a woman 100% because he's going to be focused on chasing what he wants.
Yeah.
So for me, that it sounds harsh, but it's very true.
Yeah.
If a man's not financially where he wants to be, he will never be able to give a woman what she deserves.
Bullshit.
The men. I agree with the BS because I do think that there are certain guy, especially in the early, like when he's in his early 20s, I think that when you talk about a helpmeet, the helpmeet is supposed to get you where you're supposed to go, right? If you meet a person early on, I do believe that woman can help you get to where it is that you need to go. Two different.
Man, let me just go first, y'all, because
okay, go ahead.
Dude is making money now. I think that's the dude. He'd be like standing in front of a mic like this, making his voice real sexy, like, you know what I mean. So he making money off of those videos now. He's probably doing podcasts, and he does something he's doing something that's very dangerous. And a lot of men do it once they start doing really, really well. What you're doing is you're taking your success and status and projecting it out there like y'all aren't men unless you can. You see what I'm saying? Because it's easy for him to do. It's the only thing he said that could have been true is that you can't. He did say you shouldn't date if you're broke. That's it. You shouldn't date. That same dude, if I was to go way back in his, I can remember him saying something like you said, Marcus, earlier about a man's value, and a man's value is not financial, and he just negated all of that with that statement. He negated all of it. He made it about money.
Might have missed, well, or maybe might need to play it back, but I think he has said the mindset of 100% wanting to take his wife. Not that he necessarily had to be in the position to 100%, but I think he said the mindset, and the mindset.
I don't even. Yeah, but I don't agree with that either. Not. I know what you know. I agree in a sense, but this is what I'm saying. Most of these relationships, because if he's right, then Mexicans wouldn't be married. I'm very enamored.
Mindset.
Yeah, I'm very enamored by Mexicans. You know why? Because not only is all their family together, those are the only people I've ever seen where at any given time, like in my neighborhood, there will be more men walking with the children than women. They're very family oriented people.
They are.
And I realized that they make a pact, like a covenant, that in the beginning they're going to take care of each other. That's it. Because it's never lopsided. She is a helpmeet from day one. When they got together, she is a helpmeet in any way that provides security for their stability. I get this, you get this. I get this, you get this. Those people will economically take over America with that mentality.
Listen,
in 20, 30 years.
This is what I learned about Hispanic, because I teach a lot of them, right? There are a lot of them in my classroom. And I'm over a store. And these kids come in with money, right? This is the difference between the two. Dad did AC units. So now son has been working with dad since he was 13, 14. So he's perfect the game, right? And he's making money even as a kid. You know, his dad breaks him off because he's his little helper. Now he becomes great at it. And it's like second nature to him, right? Or whatever the dad did, like maybe he's good at building decks. And then his son is there. Son helps him. He builds, That's the difference between two. These dudes, these kids be coming in the store with like loads of money. And I'd be like, what you do? And I'd be asking that because I'd be needing some work done on my house. And so I'm like, what? I can find the help at school. I just, you know what I'm saying? Oh, you lay down hardwood? How much you gonna charge me? And them kids be, you know, and that's the difference. It's like a trickle down, like the man, there's a man in the household who's teaching the son the trade at a very young age. He's making money, and it keeps going. That's how it works. They just move a lot different than we do.
Oh,
and they become perfect at what they do because they've done it all their lives.
It's about function. It's not about disrespect or what role do you need me to play for this family to function? And it's interesting to me that in those particular structures, everything happens naturally. You naturally have a group of stay-at-home moms. You naturally have a group of women that go to work. Huh?
Asians do that too.
But Asians a lot more secretive with their shit. It'd be like you don't really get to see them doing.
And look, me and Mistaken had a kid in our classroom because they be getting pregnant early too. We had a kid in our classroom, both of us. Sophomore, she was pregnant. No, check this out. Pregnant by a 26-year-old. 2 years later. No, let me finish telling you. 2 years later, the sister was pregnant by the same dude.
Middle school by the 26-year-old.
She came into school with it, and then the sister got pregnant by the same one 2 years later.
Oh, like I'm really enamored by them because I taught them.
Mom was okay with it.
When I was first teaching, but look, even that scenario, they always pregnant young, but they also married young most of the time. I just saw like the glow up, right? When I first started teaching, I was teaching nights. 90% of my population was Mexican girls. like I'm sitting here, I'm the last dude in the building, so I'm like, who's coming to pick these women up? You got their dude rolling up at whatever time in his construction outfit, you know what I mean, coming to get them because they only got one car. Then she graduates, she come back and see me like, hey, I'm coming back to do my bachelor's program. Now she got her own car. It's like, oh shit, y'all really built this thing from the ground up. Y'all did whatever y'all had to do. So it was about taking care of each other. What do you need from me? I'm gonna support you here. I will sleep less so you can do this. When I'm doing I'm like, that's what it's all about. We put everything on the man, even though the woman works and she has her own, but like we put everything on what the man can do or is able to do. And I think we got the wrong mindset entirely.
Mike, I disagree. I think when you look at most couples, especially if they got together young, they are helpmeets because they are relying on each other. Like you and your wife, I don't know how old y'all were when y'all got together. Yeah. But I just think about all couples that I know who were younger when they were dating or what have you in college, that age, like in their early 20s or whatever. It was that situation that you just described with Mexicans. I think most couples are like that. I think this whole idea that social media have gotten people thinking that all these women, especially when we're talking about us as Black women, are waiting to the finish line, till a man is already made, when that is not majority of Black women's experience. It just isn't.
So what I will say is that in a way, you're definitely right. Like that's what people do. But we talked about mindset. Don't expect most Black women to be happy about it. So when I talked about the those groups, when I meant it when I was like some of those other ethnic groups, they're doing it because that's like, what do you need me to do? Like, you see what I'm saying? They will not disrespect their man because they work. They won't disrespect their man because of the amount of work they have to put in up front, like in the beginning. But what I think it is that there's so much talk in the universe about what a man should be doing that it accidentally creates, and it's not even just Black women. I think white women actually had this problem a little like the worst in greater numbers, in greater proportion, because they're a majority of the female population. So they're not as gracious about what they're doing. They don't have the same sense of duty. They don't. So it's like, I will do it because, it's love. When people are in love, you'll do anything. And then that wears off and they get into like reality, like I shouldn't be doing. They start getting, I shouldn't have to work like this. You should be able to provide me this life. They're not using the same mentality that if we keep hustling, we're doing this for our kids. They will be better off. I will work my hands to the bone so my children have a better life. American women don't have that mentality. I don't think so.
So, all right, in regards to the video, I think that he was absolutely wrong. I think waiting at the finish line will get you relationships where you can date out of the person that actually would like you. You'll end up in an extremely superficial relationship where you made enough money to attract a woman that's not attracted to you. And that's how you might get, a situation where men come back with horror stories about women taking half or being with them just long enough to reap the benefits of the relationship. Like I was a billionaire in Janet Jackson, where she had to fulfill 10 years. And as soon as that day expired, they was divorced. 2 years, 2 kids for a certain amount of money. Like, I think you get into those situations when you do stuff like that. Another thing. So this week, I was trying to send a message from my wife IG to myself, right? And then I was like, let's look at your Explore page. So we looked on the Explore page because she don't use IG. It was only 2 things on there. It was stuff about love and relationships and girl, you don't deserve this and you need to break up. Because she had not interacted with the page, they gave her those 2 main options. So I started clicking on the loving thing and it changed the Explore page to all loving stuff. If you are having a fight with your man or you may not feel appreciated and you click on one of those things, the next thing you know, your algorithm will start feeding you content that's like, you don't deserve this. He not good enough. Don't date him. Da, 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 da. Like in real time, I seen exactly what Michael and I'm talking about. Like it's a real thing. Like you really got to be careful about what you interact with, because that stuff will have you in a whole different mind state. And if you interacting with content that say women ain't this, you'll have an overabundance of those things. If you're interacting with something that's saying men is like this, you're gonna have an overabundance of those things. We really got to be careful. But you really
you know what, Mistaken, you've heard us talk about, I think we've talked about what happens at the end, like with women with age. They start to like naturally want the deprogramming, like, oh snap, was I wrong? Like you know, they start to weigh that programming against how they actually feel and some logic, and they're like, well, do I actually feel this way, or was I told this stuff and just believed it? So that's what we mean when it's like, y'all better snap out of it. That's my fear. Like we're trying to snap women out of it because it's just a mindset thing. It's hard. Let me tell you, I as a married man, I can understand why most young men don't want to get married. And that's very terrible to say, because you have to be intentional about all you have to do. And yes, the women have what they have to do, but and all of that. But it's like, I get it when you're like, you will run this amount of pressure, blame, responsibility, what's the word? Mood. You have to regulate your mood, like as a black man, so you don't go off. Like my children need me because I want to slap shit out this motherfucker. Like you have to do a lot of stuff just to be present, like get your gold star from society. I can see a lot of men being like, I don't want that. I get hoes anyway. Like you see what I'm saying?
But, Trigger Mike, do you think that they get a fair representation? How many men do you know come online and talk about why they happy they married?
Why they what married?
Why they're happy that they are married. How many men do you know come online and talk about that?
Oh, well, we not many. They're usually older and they don't get any views. Damn near.
That's what I was about to say. It's probably quite a few out there, but like you said about the algorithm, that's not what young men are looking for. They're not looking for that information.
You know what it is though? Like the me and Marcus age people, we've been trained not to. Good news now invites pushback. Like good news, or it maybe sound like we're bragging. I don't know. What it does is it'll create, you'll think people will big us up for it. No. Or if you're around too many single people, what you're doing is reminding them that they're single. And it may even come off as judgmental because they didn't make the same choices. So then when you start getting side attacked, like, what? How did we turn into that? So they teach us to be quiet. Don't even bring that up. Don't celebrate things in your marriage, because they will turn this into something negative. Right? So yeah, we're trained not to do it, for real, for real.
Well, this sounds like you guys are advocating for people to get together younger and try to work together to hopefully have a great relationship. And when I brought this up some months ago, I sat there and said, listen, this is the greatest risk, but it gives you the best reward, because guess what? When you struggle with people, it builds a bond. That's why when brothers, they go through stuff like in sports and stuff like that, they're going through the same adversity at the same time. And because of that, it builds camaraderie, and you're more likely to stick next to these people when the time gets rough because you've already experienced adversity with them. Same thing in these relationships. When you are in a relationship when you're young and you actually can stick through the different modes that you end up transitioning through at 22, 25, 27, these are the times where relationships break up the most, because you're also going through the most change. But if you make it past those changes, then you have the greatest chance of having a relationship that will probably last 10 years. The problem is that now people are being trained and conditioned because of what has happened in previous relationships. And then even some of the good relationships, if you track to the beginning of their story, some of the stuff that they preaching now, they weren't preaching when they got together. So the formula that you're telling me I should follow, that ain't what you did. You did something completely different. And you only can talk about it being good because it worked out for you. But there's somebody that did the exact same thing that you did, and it worked out terrible. And they're crying, and they're like, God dang, I can't stand this person. The only reason why you can stand up here and be like, yo, I have a healthy, great relationship is because when those transitions were happening, y'all stayed together. Versus when these other transitions happening, they was like, F this, I'm out.
I think that's a great point. But HD, when I be talking about it, I literally be trying to explain what I did. And instead of somebody taking that and saying, okay, he might have a formula I could work with, they're going to tell you, oh, that's a one-off. That's random. That's not going to work nowadays. It's a different caliber of women. People will make any other excuse as to the reason why it can't work for them as opposed to trying it while still going along with the general rhetoric of the people who it did not work out for. And it's almost like they buying insurance to fail. Like, as long as I operate like this, I'll get a guaranteed outcome that's going to be negative, but at least I chose specifically that it was going to be a negative outcome versus trying what somebody else is saying to get a positive outcome, because that's so far out of the realm of realistic possibilities.
You know what it is? It's because people don't like to change. What you're telling them to do is to change their behaviors, change the way they think, change even possibly their friends, all of those things to get the outcome that you want, that they say that they want. So it's easy to stay where I'm at and blame other people and just keep creating this self-fulfilling prophecy of the piss in the pool instead of making the change. And I think that's really what it boils down to. You have the same people that's complaining about the same thing because they're around the same people that's complaining about the same thing.
I think there's some credence to both what you're saying. I think that there are some deep dives that when you look at the people that's presenting the information, right? A lot of brothers that I know that have very easy time dealing with women, they learned that younger, and they had a lot of relationships and a lot of women to learn this mentality off of, right? And so then when you ask them these questions like, oh, think of women like this, a lot of the brothers don't got the same experience as some brothers. So when they hear you, like, it's like hearing you're a physical trainer, right? And you've been a physical trainer for 10 years and you built your body and you had the experience and the time and you got this. So when you say, hey, just go do this, and it seems like a very foreign concept. Wait a minute, I'm fat. You're in shape. How can you expect me to do what you're doing when I haven't even got the foundation of what you got? Right? And you can go.
No, I was gonna say that's fair. That's 100% fair. I used to personal train people, right? And everybody start in their own journey at their own specific place. The thing that's the most important is, what is the general concept? How do we break it down into smaller steps that are small enough for you to take the first step and then move forward? Essentially, I'll be asking people just to take the first step and then move forward. You don't have to judge your journey by, I'm here. I started this 15 years, 30 years ago. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna be at a different place. It's not a comparative analysis. I'm saying, hey, I made these mistakes. You could get here quicker if you just look here. This is I did that. What you're about to do. Just don't do that. This is how you get from point A to point B with the least amount of veer offs as possible. But that's not. It's you be around. You know.
Yeah.
What you were saying too, that person may look and be like, oh, I'm fat. You have no idea, but you may not necessarily know that person's journey. That person probably was fat too and had an experience which pushed him to get to where no, I'm serious. Get him to where he is, and now he's trying to give you the game, but you don't want to listen.
I'm trying to figure out who's fat. Like, when did we start talking about weight loss?
No, HD just brought up a point about a personal trainer and the guy saying that he's fat, so he can't relate. But what I was saying, going with that same analogy, is the fact that that personal trainer, you only see the end result, but you don't know the work that the trainer put in and what pushed him to get there. What I'm saying is that the idea is that personal trainer could have been fat. So using that analogy is the same thing. Mark is saying, I'm trying to give people the game, give them the steps to have a marriage or get a relationship the way that I did, but they don't necessarily want to make those adjustments and changes to do that.
I think you're correct. And I think you're so correct that that's also one of the biggest things which a lot of people, when they hear the good stuff as far as you got this great relationship, they only are hearing and being presented with the positives. They're not being presented with the journey or the negatives that they experience in the relationship. And I think that's a lot of the reasons why some people, now granted, there's a lot of people, it don't matter what you say, they just gonna be pissed off, right? But I think that is the most accurate statement I've ever heard from you, which is that oftentimes what's being presented to them is snippets. You're only saying, oh, I got this great relationship, and oh, it's great. I can't blah, 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 and blah, 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 and all this other stuff. And people tune out because they're like, there's no balance to what you're saying. All I'm hearing is all the healthy, all the good stuff. I don't know how long it took you to get to this point. I don't know how you learned it. I don't know where you came from, what you did. I only see the snapshot of XYZ, and that makes me upset because I ain't got nothing to bounce it off because it seems so far from me, because all I see is negative, and here you bringing this positive, and it doesn't seem there's no balance to it. So
that's a fair statement. So one of the things that I noticed about people who kind of have similar ideologies as me is that we don't dwell in the negative. So say a negative happens, just in general, right? Like, say I have a situation that didn't go my way. Instead of me focusing on the loss that I took, I would extract the positive out of that loss. And so I say, okay, that fire is hot, but it cleaned this. So now I got a clean tool. Let's move forward with the clean tool. Not to say that nothing can ever happen on the bad side. It's just I don't view negativity the same way where I want to wallow in it. I'll try and derive something that I could pull. Like when I was hooping, I used to use the death of my father, the death of my cousin, the death of my friend, being homeless, not as a negative. I always thought those things were positives because they pushed me further. It was like that's where I derived the sense of ambition from. So I don't view it that way. And I get when people be like, well, we need to know what a starting place is. That's a different question than what's bad in your life. If you ask me what's bad in my life, I could find something, but I don't really view it as bad. I view it as something that's either in transition or that I haven't adjusted or given enough adequate time to. So it's a general shift in perspective. So, like, say, using your personal trainer example, say I was 1,000 pounds, right? Like one of the people who was invalid couldn't walk in them videos. They be having a hoist out of the house. Just getting up and making it to the bathroom might seem like a difficulty, but my mind would tell me, hey, yesterday I couldn't get to the bathroom. So as long as I get from my bed to the bathroom, I'm winning. I just got to build on that. I got to add another step. Now I can make it from the bathroom halfway to the kitchen. Okay. Now the next day I come back, I can make it into the kitchen. And I wouldn't focus on the fact that I can't make it to the kitchen, but I made it to the bathroom yesterday. It's a general like shift in perspective. You understand what I'm saying?
yeah,
So
listen, you ain't got no problem out of me. It's
yeah,
just that when you're talking to a masses of people, this is the reason why through history there's usually like one or two leaders and the rest of the followers. Like most people don't have that ability to be able to use even the most what some people would consider minute experiences and actually translate that to like the scale and some level of growth, right?
Mhm.
Most people don't have that. That's the reason why most people don't have a lot of money, is because in order for you to have the mindset to keep going, even when you hit a wall, everybody ain't got that. That's the reason why so many people seek self-gratifying things, because it's easier to go for those things and the growth is little, and you'll keep going after this little growth instead of actually going for the long-term growth. So when we're having these conversations, you know, a lot of the people, which is further proves everybody's point, which is it's hard to not see your bubble when you're around people that are in that bubble. We're in different states, different cities, but we still have a similar mind and we operate a certain type of way. And the audience that gravitates to our show, of course, we're going to get people that gravitate to the show that are sitting here saying, there's no reason to watch this show. It's the same thing, it's boring. Like, I read some of the comments, but majority of the people that watch the show, they're a certain type of people and they digest things differently. So even though we're trying to speak to a general issue, the people that are going to gravitate to this channel are still going to be similar people to us.
That's fair.
So, you know, my only gripe when we have me and you, we have certain conversations is because it's almost like I don't necessarily feel like, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't have the word for it yet, but when
Did
I figure it out,
enough of the bad? Did I acknowledge enough of the potential for harm or the potential for things to go wrong? Maybe that is too optimistic. Maybe
no, I'm fine with the optimism. I think for me personally, I think that
I ignore gifts I have and pretend like other people should just have the gift.
I think that it takes time to develop that which you developed. And I think when people are listening to you, they haven't developed the listening and understanding skills that you developed. So when they hear you easily deduce and flip and switch and move, when they haven't developed that, it's just like, you know, a lot of people be looking like, what? Like, how? Like, when I can understand what you're trying to do, because you filter everything out and then you did all the heavy lifting in the beginning, and then you present a finished product. Me, I'm like, all right, it depends on what was asked, who asked it, and I kind of don't do all that extra filtering, and I kind of just like, I don't do as much work as what you do when you present things. I just be like, listen, that's just not what he asked, that's not what he said. But you have the foresight to be like, hey, listen, you can cut all of that if you just do this, right? And sometimes I just don't do that, and I just like sometimes don't think it's necessary.
I just like to commend my sister Inaz for her incredible posture. Every time I look away and look back, you don't fucking move. Like, I've never like
right,
you.
And I'm all over the place, like,
I thought your camera was frozen.
I was asleep.
Yo, you have a career in journalism, TV, like just, you know, most of them are just back straight. Oh, it's hilarious.
You're right. It's literally she's in the same picture, same
in the
angle,
same
in
frame.
the same
That's
spot.
what I'm like.
The
I'm like, her
hair
camera
don't even
frozen.
move. Even when she was eating, it wasn't even look like her mouth moved. It literally was just like this. I said, is she eating? Did she master eating too? I saw everybody eating. I saw Miss Taken grab a snack. I didn't see Marcus grab a snack. Shan.
I had some grapes.
I was like, God dang, maybe I need to get a snack. Is it snack time? We need a snack segment. Hey, it's snack time, guys. You know, while we read super chats, grab your snacks and we're gonna have a good time. You know, I was like, God dang, bro, I missed out on the snack train.
That's a nice show, a new show named Snack and Chat.
I got a kid in my class. I call him Snacks because he always eating. Like, hey, come here, Snacks.
That's a dope.
I got a sticky and I got a snacks.
So
snack and chat. Listen, if y'all just coin and just put a little segment, I'm still waiting for JR to make us a little cool intro. You know what I'm saying? That'd be nice. Just throw that out there.
What?
I thought AP was working on it, but then he just quit on us.
Hey, what's been going on with AP, man? Because maybe like 3 weeks ago, this dude flooded my timeline for like a week and a half straight.
Oh, he
with
just became
sugar
a
daddy
millionaire.
vibes. Like
He just
that
became a
dude had
millionaire.
on
He
Steve
got 2
Harvey
wives
suit.
now.
AP.
Oh, he living his best life. Leave him alone.
I'm like, what the like? And he walking too, like hold the camera. Am I, is my
He got
angle right?
because he got a wife now.
I was like, what?
Yeah,
Like,
he became a
posing and shit.
millionaire. He got 3 wives now.
See what a woman to do to you? You just change up your whole swag.
He's sponsored by Giorgio Armani,
It's because he's getting drained every day. Unfortunately, as the years go by, y'all forget. Y'all forget. Y'all lose some motion, and y'all don't want to do it no more. But he's a newlywed, so enjoy.
Yeah, HD got job promotions and everything. He say, mind your business. Oh, just
That's
mind
where
your
them
business.
came from.
Yo, he came out here like a pimp named Slipback last
Like
class.
a pimp named Slipback. I'm like, get off my time. That dude had like 4 posts. I came back and was like, is this a different suit? Nigga, what? And look, he walking like, hey, hold the camera. Hey, right there. Hold up. Hey, I was like, okay.
So HD, do you remember I was talking about my wife can't cook? In the process to getting her to learn how to cook?
No, I don't remember. But enlighten me, sir.
Yeah, she couldn't cook. Probably could burn water initially.
You can actually burn water. Why do people say that? I do that shit all the time.
Probably could burn water.
I don't think necessarily you can burn water. It's just that you can evaporate so much water that it begins to burn whatever it is that you.
My dumb ass be thinking it's water that goes in there to make something go sizzle instead of oil. So by the time I go in the fridge, I smell something burning. The water's gone. It evaporated. I'm like, oh, shit.
Like y'all, look, I saw it. So
let me just finish this one part. So look, HD, I explained how I actually cared about eating food that she prepared and what that meant to me, and we worked on the solution, which is where HelloFresh came in. Got recipes that sent all the ingredients, and then she began to get over the hump, and now she enjoys them to the point that she creates the food preparation where she's with the garnishments and all of that stuff. But it was a step from beginning to end, and the patience to continue to work on it and walk through it. I think that's in general how things should go. Like, okay, you might be at this point, you're not happy with this, or you don't even care, but then you realize you care and you want to change that thing. You have to take incremental steps moving forward. Everything is incremental steps. And all right, can you explain this to me? Why is it necessary to diminish something? That I never understood that. My brain doesn't really work in that way. Because I heard people say, like, you only tell me the good. Why you don't tell me the bad? And I'm like, and I think I consider like complaining if I I stubbed my toe this morning. Like, so I think the way I want to hear stuff is the way I speak. But you would have to enlighten me on why someone would necessarily need to hear negativity.
Well, I will say this. I don't think that is necessarily the need to hear negativity. It's just that I use myself as an example. When I walk into a room, everybody can say that room looks nice, right?
Mm-hmm.
And immediately that somebody says something, my eye immediately focus on the issue of the room. This wall not straight, this got a hole, the outlet loose, and stuff like that. And sometimes when you have a lot of men have this proclivity that we're problem solvers. If you already present a fixed thing, he's not really going to be focused on the thing that's already done and fixed and good. He needs a project to be like focus on something that is an issue. And that's the reason why issue content is the most profitable content. Like all the dramas and all this stuff, the reason why it's so great to people is because, issues are a lot more intriguing. Because if you got something with no issues, you see a clean wall, everything's perfect. You'd be like, oh, and eventually you're gonna get tired of seeing that perfect wall. You want to go find a problem. Happens all the time. It's
My
just
brain
like,
just
yo,
doesn't work that way. Like when I
well,
see something fixed, I'm at rest. Like I be like, all right, cool, nothing to do. I can sit here and bask and just, you know what I'm saying? Like I can sit
yeah.
still.
I mean, and that's what I'm saying. Eventually, if they only see things that are perfect and at peace, eventually they're just gonna be like, it becomes so normalized that it becomes boring, and then they seek the opposite. Now, I'm not saying that that's something that you would do, but oftentimes, like, it's even when you bring up the debates of like LeBron and stuff like that. Many people be like, "Yo, how is he making and doing these numbers for this long?"
Mhm.
But when you're watching it, you're just like, "Ugh, that's just LeBron. It don't really matter because you didn't seen it so long." You're just like, "I'm tired of seeing this." I'm not saying you are like that, but the people at large,
Mhm.
you continue to see the same thing of success over and over again. Tom Brady, this dude is the GOAT. He done won more, even with like cheating, uh, two cheating scandals and this, that, and the third. He still went to win more rings, and then he went to a whole new place and still won, right?
What cheating?
I mean, listen, bro, and then people got tired of him, but it's just like at some point you just realize, like, yo, like people are naturally drawn to issues because it actually gives them something to do. Versus if everything is taken care of, then they're like, what am I doing here?
So the way my brain works, honestly, this is interesting to me. The way I try and look for a solution to the problem so I don't have to deal with the problem. Like I'll see something happening and I'll be like, you know what? XYZ is probably going to occur based off of this. So I'll just skip this timeline. XY will occur right here. I'll skip that timeline. X occurs. I'll skip that timeline. There's no issue right here. Okay, this is what I want to do. Quickest A to B, and then I don't have to deal with any of this in between. Like I don't want a problem. I want no problems. I want peace. I want to be able to relax, enjoy life, and live like a hippie. I just want to be in just radiating positive energy and love and everything going well if I could have it that way. I you know how people be like, you need darkness to appreciate light. I get it, but I just need light. I'm gonna keep it real. I just if I could just have straight light, I'd be extremely happy. Like more happy than anybody can understand. Like I
But
don't
you recognize too that people in the dark don't recognize that they may necessarily need light until they have it. Dark become normal
you're right.
until you experience something different. You know what I mean?
Man,
So it is a toss up. And then sometimes people who have that love don't appreciate it because it's just the expectation. That's what they're used to until they experience, the opposite of that. You know what I mean? Then it's like, oh damn. Okay, I really appreciate this. I'd rather have this. So sometimes is necessary to, because I think that helps with your growth as well. Is experience, and not saying that you need to experience anything. A wise person would be able to learn from the experiences of others. A lot of us aren't wise though.
listen, you know how
You
gangster
slow
that
down.
analogy is that, if you're in the dark too long, your eyes will begin to fixate to that climate and you'll be able to see better. Versus if you were, the opposite, if you were in a dark and brightness, eventually after you get initially blinded, your eyes will attune to the light. That's a very astute example. But I think the way that my mind operates is I know what the perfect line is, and I attribute this to like percussion. We got these kids from ages 10, 13, 15, all the way up to like 17, 18 in our like high school line, right? And when they play things, I get so fixated on the one thing that wasn't right. Literally, they could have played everything really good. But if this particular technique is off, or I want perfection to some degree so bad that when I hear it, I'm just so sad. When I hear the lack of perfection, it just make me
Oh,
sad. And it
okay.
make me want to figure out, why can't we get you to do this? Because I'm also speaking from a point of I didn't spend so much time and built up these habits that it's second nature to me. I'm trying to figure out, okay, how can I replicate me in these kids? Right.
Mhm.
And that's been the challenge because some kids get it, and I realize all the kids ain't gonna be sweet. Cool, fantastic. But when they play together, I don't care that everybody ain't gonna be quote unquote sweet. I need when y'all are together that y'all care about each other enough that when y'all play together, y'all sound like one drum. Because there's nothing more attractive to me or just a beautiful sound than when a snare line is playing this double stroke roll and it sound like one drum. And I'm like, oh my God, it's and it just pains me to hear just one little tick in the back, and it just it makes me sick.
Makes me sick.
Hmm.
Yeah, but I agree with you. There a lot of people would benefit that if when they see problems, they were more solution based and they want to get better outcomes and listen to you and be like, hey, listen, this will probably give you a much better result. You need a better filter system and you need to understand these things out the gate for you to get the results that you need. Right.
You know what's
I think people
yeah.
will benefit from that.
You know what's
But
frustrating though? We I don't know. I think it's like world aid. We were indoctrinated as kids to think help actually works. Help is just help. It's temporary. You see what I'm saying? Like all of the aid that Africa has received, the damn near $1 trillion, they haven't built many water wells. They just keep bringing water. You see what I'm saying? You can't like when we talk about help. That's why I know that I have an obligation to children to help them, to not deny them when they seek advice, and to provide them opportunities where I can, specifically for them to excel. Check on to see if they're excelling and all of that. But when it comes to like these spaces and the help that we can give people in the form of helping them make the decisions we make, I realize we're doing the work of 99 to help one, because you have to raise these people. You know what I mean? When women say y'all need to talk to these men, I ain't talking to nobody. That shit don't work. We need to raise these boys. That's how you get this version of a human being, a functional adult that knows right from wrong, that won't put his hands on a woman, that won't get upset at his ex-girlfriend and shoot her 4 times in the chest. You raise a man that can't do things like that. Who gonna go talk to that dude that just shot that girl in the street like that? Hey, talk him down. Tell him to put the gun down. They were trying to talk to him from the damn balcony. You think he was listening? You got to raise somebody who's not capable of doing those type of things. And that's why I don't find like a lot of these spaces as a lost cause. It can help, but for those people that are willing to listen. There are people that show up and it's just like they amongst all the fluff, all the pushback, all the people that are naysaying, there is somebody that's like, I've heard this enough. I've seen points in my life where it's proved to be true. This person has the results. I'm going to do it like they do it. And yeah, that does make it worth it sometimes, but that's why I'm just on some stuff like, yeah, it's kind of over. And, Uncle Rick say all the time, man, it's over. This shit we're just grasping for straws. It's over. We all did type stuff. But no, I tell dudes, you gotta raise them. Raise the children right, raise the youth right, and we'll get a better version. Like we'll get all the compliance we're looking for. We create it. That's really the irony.
When do you give up? When do you say, you know what, this is helpless and hopeless, you can't be changed? For me, my point is I'll work with anybody that wants to work.
Mhm.
The moment you try and fight me on the solution, then I'll be like, you know what, you got it, bro. Like this is not beneficial to me. I'm trying to help you get from point A to point B. You want to fight me to stay at point A, I'm gonna leave you there. I'm not gonna argue with you. You learned enough. You know everything. I'm good.
Do you know what the give up point for me is? You know how I thought about you when I had this discussion. Pause. But you know how we're always talking like the community. We use that term, and I get really upset when people say black men aren't in the community, and then I realize that we have a misunderstanding of what the community is. As fathers, our community is just where we're present, right? And that's where I can do the most good. They will send texts to our phone and be like, we need dads this Saturday to do blank, blank, and blank. And I usually, because I work from home, I'm like one of the first dads be like, I can do that this Saturday from 8 to 10 a.m. That's me in my community. Where I'm supposed to be present and helping is where my children are at.
What's the demographic of that community?
Oh, shit, I don't want to tell you. You know, but you know what I mean, man. What I'm saying is it could always be a group of people. Like, we could move around each other and create that for each other. So when people say black men aren't in the community, it's like when we create one, when we find each other and want to create those opportunities for our kids, put on events, put on workshops, how to tie a tie, our kids will benefit from our presence. We naturally are present where we're at when we create that, for ourselves.
Which has been my argument the entire time, because when 70% of the community that looks like you is Trigger Mike, then you get better results versus Trigger Mike to the community that already has the results that they desire and fit in there. But I'm not trying to go deep into that hole.
Yeah, we've paused.
Yeah. What'd he say?
He said
into
that hole.
You didn't specify what kind of hole, but
yeah. Pause. My fault.
Right, but Marcus, it was something that you said earlier, and I wanted to ask you, because you was talking about your wife and how she did not know how to cook, and you took the time and y'all looked up recipes and stuff like that, and took some time and patience. Do you think, I was gonna say men as a whole, but since we're typically usually talking about us as black people, do you think black men lack patience enough to take the time to allow a woman to grow and learn?
I think it's complicated, because I think the thing, from what I experienced from the men that complain the most, I think they lack a real true understanding of nuance and how to bridge the gap between what you want and what's currently where we're at. And that requires patience, but patience, I don't think, is the whole issue, if that makes sense.
Explain a little more.
So it wasn't just, hey, I want you to cook. You need to learn how to cook. It wasn't that. It was, this matters to me. This is why it matters to me. Oh, you're trying. Here's support. I see you did this better. Reward. Oh, this is looking good. Reward. I see you trying. Reward. Oh, damn, you actually got this shit on point. Reward. Oh, now I expect it. Praise. Now I can champion that you do this thing that I'm proud of now. Reward that you at the beginning couldn't. So I think a lot of times people will go, hey, I want you to learn how to cook. Oh, you can't cook. Negative. Now I don't want to cook for you. Or hey, can you cook me something to eat? The person may not know how to express that they don't know how, because they might feel you'll look down on them or you'll judge them. So instead of them saying, hey, no, I just don't know how to cook, the response may be, nigga, fix your own food. The issue might be that I don't know how to cook. But the greater issue is I don't feel comfortable enough to tell you that, hey, this is something I struggle with. I never got taught this before. And I'm embarrassed. So instead of helping somebody, like, you know what, it's okay, let's work on it. Let's be it's that initial way people communicate with each other. I told her I want food. She didn't cook my food. She a disobedient, lazy wife. I should be able to say that to you because I'm a man. This is how men talk. Tone don't matter. Get over it. I told you to cook the food. You didn't cook it, and you still haven't cooked it. And we 4 months in, and I still ain't got the food that I've been asking for since 4 months ago. You just don't care. You just when really diving into the issue may have unraveled something else. It may not be she embarrassed. It may be she just really, really tired. Who knows? Okay. Damn, you can't cook because the kids is bothering you all day. If that's the reason, maybe I can help with the kid. Like, it's a give and take that occurs. Like, it's natural now. So when I explain something, it's just straight to the positive, right? But the give and take that occurs to me is the natural progression. Maybe I'm leaving out the progression of how things work because I'm like, that's minutia. Like, it's like, but that's my arrogance of ignorance, or ignorance of arrogance, however you want to say it. I would assume that people will understand that that's how it would go. But no. So I get it. I learned something new.
Hey, that brings it full circle, because when you say men, you said men don't have the patience. I don't think anybody
asking. No.
I took that, like, I was thinking about it when you said it, and I was like, nobody really has the patience for what's lacking from most of our society now. And it's not like what Marcus said he did with his wife. That's like a one of one. Oh my gosh. Like, he not only saw like there was an issue, he probably stepped back, analyzed, watched his response to it, had the patience to sit back and give him, very few people can do that. And then I realized that's not that's a failure of society in general. That's a failure of like our parents. You see what I'm saying? Because Marcus did it the right way. 9 other men will fail. 9 other will fail that, because what used to happen is that we all as human beings have the grace, I think, the grace to allow our significant other to mature beyond their inexperience. So you can usually tell when it's like they're just inexperienced. And then those things actually get better, where she used to pop off, but now she waits a second and be like, I ain't like the way that went last time. So, those are just the natural growing pains of any relationship. But then it's like, when he said his wife didn't cook, and when dudes say that, they just stop the statement right there. There's never a change involved in it. My wife don't cook, period. So that's a life. Like, you have to be taught. And that's why I said you got to raise people. Most people have to be raised into these behaviors because they can't really develop them. And then their significant other won't give them the grace to learn it. They start holding it against them. And then the relationship deteriorates.
You know, because you can't cook. Like, yeah, you look
and almost in their mind, they start looking for somebody to replace all the things that's missing from, that spouse. So I'm like, wow, we actually do have a very steep hill to climb, because I realized that like a lot of people weren't even raised to engage in the relationships properly. A lot of women can't cook. A lot of men aren't going to have the patience. A lot of men don't even care in the beginning, because they don't know that it's not even just necessary for them. If my wife couldn't cook, I'd worry about the children. They about to be fat as shit.
Now, that's actually what spawned it, Sugar Mike, because I know how to cook.
Yeah.
So I was like, I could cook, it don't matter. Now I was like, oh, you got to feed these kids. I need you to cook. That was the foresight in it. Like,
yeah. And then it'll start becoming contentious. You want your kids to be fat? This third time we have a McDonald's? Like, you see what I'm saying? So I'm like, oh man, a lot of people, it's just set up for relationships to just go bad because people don't have the skills. That's what it is. That's the word I've been searching for. People just don't have the skills. Man, if I could tell y'all about my wife, like, she had so many characteristics of my mom, but the part that I liked the most is it was just so effortless. You know what I mean? And it's almost like a breather. Like, whoo. I was about to say, I had spent the night one night. I think it might have been the first time I got lucky or something like that.
Did you just do the
I remember that shit because I had waited, boy. I waited. And you do that wake up like, where am I? Oh shit, I'm at her crib. Damn, where'd she go? This lady downstairs cooking breakfast. Like, she's like, put your clothes on, nigga. I got class. Like, you see what I'm saying? And she done made me a bagel with eggs and turkey bacon. And she's like, how do you like it? But this is the thing. While she's talking, she moving. Like, this is what she do. She's not trying to impress me. She getting ready for her. Like, that type of feminine thing, like, it make a dude go weak at the knees. Like, when you see that, like, this is just the way this woman moves. Bro, it ain't got nothing to do with me or, that type of shit, man. I'm like, okay, she has these skills. And if I don't take her off the market, another dude will. That's the way.
But Trigger Mike, if Like what you saying is ideal, right? But if somebody doesn't have it, how do we teach people how to foster the environment in order to create the skill
That was going to be my question.
produces that effect?
There is one thing. It had something to do with something HD said about getting married early. HD, you know the pushback they're going to give to that. Somebody already put it in the chat. They're going to say the groups of people getting divorced now are the people get married earlier, and I don't think the correlation and causation match. I don't think it matches at all. A lot of people that are getting married early just come from this subset of people that don't know how to be married at all, and a lot of them, their parents weren't married, so they never had any example. So to answer your question, Marcus, I've lost sight of this. In fact, I stopped practicing it myself and I had to go back into it. That's why we joined so many groups. Married people are supposed to be in groups. You aren't supposed to be accountable to each other, like not necessarily just to each other. You see what I'm saying? You're supposed to be accountable to your extended family, your community. There's supposed to be so many people. Your marriage is supposed to be like an organizational chart. and you and your wife might not even be at the top of that organizational chart. It's supposed to be so many webs of people that come in and check on you. And a lot of the gripes that we have with each other, Marcus, the woman will go seek toxic advice on how to deal with it because she wants to be validated. Could you imagine like most women going to an OG wife and they being like, look at here, little sister, I know you might be fuming, but you handled that all wrong. Do you want to feel right, or do you want this problem to go away? Let me tell you what you need to do. Those are the people we need to be linked with. So people that are married, people that are in relationships, they need to be in groups where the top person at that hierarchy is a group of married people that won't let your marriage fail by any means. They will always tell you when you're wrong. Yeah, I called you over here so you could cool off, but I was just waiting to tell you wrong as fuck, nigga. You know what I mean? I got people like that. I'd be like, damn, man, I knew this thing was about to be on my side. They will hold you accountable to everything you do wrong that is detrimental to your marriage, and they will let you see how to affect your kids, how to affect you later. You know, if you do that, you're giving them some ammo to come back and say, they will let you know everything you're not seeing while you're infuriated, while you got the. So that's what I think most of these people are missing. If they had the people to stair step them through the process, they'd be a lot better off.
I think one of the hardest things now is, you know how when I say something, I know this really pisses a lot of people off. When I be like, as a man, you're responsible for everything. Everything falls back on you, so it's your fault. The non-acceptance of that one statement creates all the other issues. Fighting that statement is what makes you have any of the other issues, because if you've accepted responsibility that, hey, if I want this to be done this way, I need to figure out the system in order to get it done this way, then you figure the system out. But if you say, I want it done this way because I'm in charge, you need to do it this way, I don't care how you do it, just figure it out, and leave somebody to their own devices, and you come back and it's not done, most people will get mad at the person for not doing it. In that scenario, I'll be like, God damn, I didn't give you no instructions. We didn't create no plan. I didn't walk through none of the issues with you. All right. What's the first thing that's stopping you from moving forward? Okay. Let's get from here to here. Back to the incremental steps. Let's get from here to here. Once you master this, then we can move forward. And while teaching you the step, also trying to work mentally with you to get some type of process to problem solve. So some of the issues that maybe you would have came to me had we not had the initial conversation, you can get past till we get to the next big thing. And now you're able to not only do, like, I think leaders create leaders. So like, men are leaders, they should create wives that are leading the children in response to your ideology, because they adopt that. So in order to properly do that, you've got to work with them for them to understand your ideology in totality, so that they can answer how you would answer and be how you would be, so that when you're not there, you know, okay, Dad said we not doing XYZ. And I understand why Dad said that. So I'm holding that standard. And now I can apply it effectively, as opposed to, he said, don't feed you chips. I like Chips. I think he tripping about that. I'm gonna let you get Chips when he leaves because you didn't explain why. It could have been you got some type of genetic disposition that the soybean and the chips causes people to break out in hives. But if you don't communicate that to the person, they'll just be like, you tripping.
Marcus, I got a question. The statement that you made that you're the man, you're responsible, so if everything goes wrong, it's your fault. Is that a personal ideology, or is that just like a throw-out statement that, is that your personal thought process?
Yeah, that is.
Okay. I understand that thought process because I do take a lot of personal self-reflection and be like, all right, here's my part to play on this. Here's how I can easily see a lot of people having an issue with that statement. If you're responsible for something, I kind of look at this like a head coach. That sounds like a head coach mentality. If the team does well, you get the benefits. If the team does bad, you get the blame. But at the end of the day, that person that the quarterback threw the ball to, he dropped the pass in the end zone. That's the reason why you ain't win, right? And I think when you understand that, or when you look at it, it's not necessarily about understanding, but when you look at all the other things that you can't control that also contribute to the fact that this helps with the failure, that's how you can see, I can see a lot of people being like, I understand what you're saying, but in truth, that's not actually accurate.
So here's how that would apply. This is the thought process I would enact in that. Okay, he dropped that pass. We gonna throw so many passes. That's that exact same pass that you catching them in your sleep. Like you literally waking up, oh, I thought I missed the ball. You know what I'm saying? Now you weren't trained adequately enough for that. You went out, you tried, you didn't complete the task. If I'm accepting full responsibility for that, I'm accepting the responsibility to make sure your training is adequate to get you to the next stage. If I say you should have caught that and I'm mad at the player, one, I don't know if you ever heard people say the coach is in my head. You ever heard that statement? Like when it comes to athletes, it'd be like some players that was good, but they never produced. And a lot of them would be like the coach was in my head. When they feel like that, or the coach won't let me play my game, they're like their mind is fighting against doing the thing that would produce the best result. Because now self-doubt, self-consciousness, and what's it called? Self-doubt, self-consciousness, and just fear, anxiety starts to creep in. And the looseness you need, like people perform excellent when they have confidence. A person that's scared to fail is not the same as a person that expects to win. If that makes sense. If you have somebody on your team that's scared to fail, they'll more than likely they'll more than likely fail at some point. It's almost like you manifesting it. Your biggest fear is what's going to happen. Just like if you expect to win, they'll more than likely win at some point. And I get the head coach thing. Well, the main thing I think an effective coach can do is figure out a way to instill confidence in your players that what we train can adequately transfer. And when they make a mistake, get them the grace to figure out how they can improve versus harping on the mistake and giving them anxiety and all these other things that come from that. Because people are going to make mistakes. Nobody's going to be perfect. If you catch 95% of the passes, we're doing pretty good. And if you're catching 45% of the passes, let's get to 46.
I mean, listen, I'm with you. Progress is the game of the game. If you only shoot for perfection, you're only shooting yourself in the foot. I agree. But progression should be the name of the game. But I just think that some of these things, like even when you talk about relationships, right? I think that sometimes you realize that people are going to go after the path of least resistance. And then also you got the caveat of this person wasn't doing this before you met them. If she ain't cooked before, Why all of a sudden you want her to cook now, even though you got reasoning and stuff like that? It's like, listen, why are we even arguing about something that, I can just get somebody else to do? Because that's another thing that we got. The issue now is that everything that a man or a woman can do, you can outsource it. The reason why she going to McDonald's is because she worked all day, and it's faster to grab McDonald's than it takes for her to actually make a meal. You know what I'm saying? So it's just
Why
like,
gotta be McDonald's though?
well, I mean, I'm with you, but there's some people that love McDonald's. I can't stand McDonald's. There's only 2 restaurants, fast food restaurants, that I'll pull up to a drive-through and I'll go to. There's Chick-fil-A, which apparently is full with GMOs, and then there's Cookout, right? That's it. These are the only 2 things. There's only 2 things I go to, and I rarely go to those. Everything else makes my stomach sick. I can't imagine even going back to McDonald's unless it's breakfast. And Burger King is so off the rails. I don't even know why anybody still go there, right? But it's just like, when you see all of these different options as far as like takeout and stuff like that, to me, if you're going to any fast food restaurant or a sit down restaurant or the grocery store, all of these things cost relatively the same. The problem is that when you spend the same amount of money at the grocery store that you would spend out to eat, it might still hurt a lot, and all you got was 3 things, but you can make more meals from the $15 you spent at the grocery store than you could at the $15 you spent at the restaurant. You get 1 serving versus you might get 2 or 3 if you're budgeting correctly when you're going to the thing. But yeah.
So I think that translates to life, right? If either you do all the hard work in the beginning, grocery shopping, food prepping and meal prepping, so that you have those additional meals, or you wait to the last minute and you get it done. It's easy to procrastinate with a lot of stuff. I get it. I procrastinate a lot too. But I think relationships, I like that analogy. You do the work in the very beginning of the relationship, setting the parameters, setting expectations, having realistic conversations about what you expect and how we can potentially get to that. And then in the end, you don't have to worry about having an expectation of somebody that you probably didn't properly communicate. And now you're dealing with the backlash of missed expectations and anger based off of that, which turns into a fight because you didn't set a clear parameters for how you would engage when it was conflict. And now y'all broke up. For you to start over again. A lot of times people tell me I'm not doing all of that. I'll talk to somebody, I'll be like, man, just do. That's too much work. I'm not doing all of that. The truth is you're going to do way more work because you're not going to do it in the beginning. You're going to do all of this work in the end trying to fix the relationship. It's not going to work. You're going to start over, say, I need a person that's already complete, that's already done, that doesn't need to be worked with, get into that same cycle, start over, get into that same, and it's going to keep happening until you decide, hey, I'm going to put the work in on the front end, and then the back end, we can smooth sail. But because people refuse, they're going to be doing way more work than me, way more work than the person that put the work in the very beginning. Because now we just maintaining things and trying to get it better versus this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, this motherfucker. Now you bringing this motherfucking energy into the house, and now she like this motherfucker. Now these 2 motherfuckers is looking at you like, now y'all just can't get along. You know, you know that. Oh, this. Hey, listen, you know when you get people get in a relationship. So, and the reason I say it'll work, it is that regards to be because my wife had 1 boyfriend before I met her, and they fought. She didn't cook. All the stuff that didn't happen then happens now. Why? Because it's a process to get to that point. And I'm saying you can replicate that process. It might not be to the same result, but with the person, if a person to go on a date with you and potentially like you, you can replicate the same result.
Man, she only had 1 guy before you? That's crazy.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of teaching to do, man. That's how you get them. Because when people be like, "Oh, women hoes," I'm like, yeah, that's partially true, but the way you get around.
So, all right,
No,
before
no,
we
no,
end this
no. I
show,
didn't see
Mike,
that. No, what I mean is that
Mike,
they're
before we end this show, I got a question for you.
yeah.
Is the gender war over?
Yes, yes, it actually is.
Who
It
won?
actually is. And I'm trying to. We both lost. We both lost. Nobody got what they wanted at the end. Everyone lost. That's usually what happens in American wars, which is ironic. No, we both lost. The community died. It died. Nobody gained anything. Children suffer. I what is this, Generation A? Who would he calling people now? I think it's so bad. I realized that
Alpha.
Hamp had a show where it was like 21-year-olds and shit. I was like, oh yeah, we shit over. Everybody lost. They sound just like the 35-year-olds. And, I was like, oh damn, this is bad. So that show was like 5 hours too. So I was hearing all of the social norms and he got a degree. I was like, oh fuck. I was like, we're it's done, it's toast. But what was I saying before the gender war comment? Because I'm tired of shit. Oh no. Yeah, did I call all women hoes? I didn't mean it's partially true. What I meant was when dudes would be like, all women hoes, though, I can't trust any woman. And because dudes are scared to get hurt. I don't think the people use that. But like men are trying to discriminate a little better because they're afraid to get hurt. Everybody's afraid to get played for a fool out here in these streets. All right. And I said, do it the way I did it. You have to find a woman that was a serial monogamist. That's your best chance. It's like, and it's a great thing. She's always been relationship focused, right? So, and then you got to validate it somehow. That's, and it's usually better if you knew the woman, through that long period where you always somehow ran into her. You can always validate, like she was with this dude, like damn, like 4 years. Then she met me, like so that's what I tell dudes now. Otherwise, you don't know what the hell you getting out of it.
All right, beautiful people. We are about to shut it down. Quick
You
question.
see their faces? They couldn't wait to shut us the fuck up. Like they look, y'all were talking with y'all like, okay.
Right before we go, I just want everybody to either just share one thing that they learned or a bit of advice that they would give. And then we're going to shut it down. I'll start. I learned just now, like with Marcus, to exude more patience and increase positive reinforcement to get the results that I want.
Trigger Mike taught me that even when you give up on someone, they can still show growth. So I appreciate you hanging up the gender war general hat. That was not a shot. That was a genuine compliment. I really thought you were going to do it. I'm really proud that you did.
Thank you. Oh,
I learned that we both lost.
It's like a movie.
You
ever seen a movie where everybody dies? Like everybody dies at the end of the movie? That's what the gender war was.
Yeah, I agree. People could still grow. And that people's desire for negative interactions stems from them needing to understand the micro step that they need to take, as opposed to them just wanting. Well, it could also be this, but I'm gonna choose to believe that it's not somebody wanting to knock you down a peg. It's actually them trying to figure out how to take their step up. Now that may be me over implying optimism, but I'm gonna choose to believe that. I'm saying in general.
All right, pull up. Do we have any other super chats before we close out?
No, I didn't go.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
Mike. Go ahead.
I think in all together, listening to Shan and Mistaken, I think there were a few things you said where I realize now that I learned that there's like a subgroup of women that really like your optimism is high because you've insulated yourself with positive experiences, people who are like-minded. So even when we think like you, because I think you've heard me say mistaken, like y'all not speaking up enough, y'all don't really go at these women like y'all supposed to, but it's really because the group of people y'all are around most of the time are just like y'all, which is a way to say that you've reinforced yourself, you know, in the right way. That way. So when you know, you may not be, we might be diving into these toxic circles a little too much where we see some of this stuff, but it's like, how y'all not see this crap? You know, but y'all are busy living your lives, taking care of your children, bonding with your husband, significant other, whatever, what have you. And we're over here like, these women some hoe. Like, you know, so to even like me saying, Shan, you live under a rock, but it's like, well, maybe when I'm saying people need to group themselves together and like-minded people, she can serve where she's, you know, that it should have an impression on her like that. She's serving where she's needed and doing, you know, creating positivity in her circle. So yeah, I felt like that was a bit of something like, oh, maybe they're not, because you know, in my head, I'd be like, man, y'all toxic too. Y'all see what's going on, y'all want to do nothing. But no, y'all really be over there doing y'all thing.
Yeah, I was about to say there are some super chats, some from AP and some other ones up here.
Jen Gray with the $1.99. Great dialogue exchange.
No.
Does Inaz ever talk?
First 45 minutes, then not anymore. No.
She actually talk a whole lot, but just she needs space in order to like let her fully flesh her points out.
There's
No,
that.
she need to put the finger up first.
Space?
No, you got to put the finger up first in order for her to talk.
So there are those two things, but I will add, like, there's something really important and magical when men are dialoguing amongst themselves, and I find it sometimes really irritating when women interrupt, because then it takes it on tangents where we're missing out on really important information. So, like, the dialogue that the three of you were having was really important. So, what am I going to input when it's men discussing things?
You could put your lady input.
The AP accountability partner with 10. Mind your business. That's all. Just mind your business. The AP accountability partner with 5. Wait till next week, Trigger Mike. Yes, new suits. But while I'm at ATL and DC, I don't dress that. I don't dress like that. Only Charlotte is coming again. Own your image.
That man looking like Steve Harvey's little brother.
We got another. The AP with a 5 again. Yes, the wife helps coordinate the outfits. And yes, they definitely.
You got to get yourself 5 suits. You got to have a tan suit, a blue suit.
Yes, the wife helps coordinate the outfits. And yes, they definitely
stay drained.
Thank you. Perks of marriage. It's why I push for guys to date with purpose and intent. Yeah, I was not about to talk about the state of your fullness or emptiness, brother.
It's the newlywed spirit. You didn't gotta ask him. You be dreaming like, wait, what's going on? Oh, yeah, I miss those days, bro. Y'all knees go bad real quick.
My man sound like he is drained from his dream.
Y'all get that ring. Y'all get that ring. Now all of a sudden your knees hurt.
All right, everyone. Thank you for spending your time with us this Friday night. See you next week. I can say the same place, but I can't say the same time. Good night.
Good night. All right. Good night, y'all.
Yo, I'm out.
Yeah.
Bye, guys. Take it easy.
All right, see you next